Hey, call me Shay. We live. Okay. Got an amazing show for you guys tonight. I'm happy. Got my brother Jeff St. James joining us. He'll be joining us in a little bit. So hopefully you have a good show. I'm excited about it. It's funny when you prepare for like interviews and stuff, you like write down a bunch of questions and you're trying to figure out like what you want to ask. And so I'm gonna try to make this show more light. I'm gonna make it more because I know that like the goal from this show is to clip farm, right? Let's get some clips out of it. Let's get some good moments out of it. Jeff is going viral right now, so there's an opportunity to speak to somebody who's a therapist. He's working in the community, helping people with medical issues, mental issues. Well, I said medical issues, mental illness or whatever. So today's conversation is going to be an opportunity to kind of hear from professionals working in the field and seeing if we could kind of diagnose some of the problems, right? Like there's a lot of issues. There's a lot of issues in the dating community, right? And so I'm trying to figure out if we could find some solutions to that. All right. I got a slew of questions. If you guys join and you want to start listing some questions you guys want me to ask Jeff St. James, let me know. Okay. I do want to start doing more live streams in the future. So if this one works well, we're gonna do more. Absolutely. We got Iron Waffles. He says, salute, my brother. Shout out to you. Also, people, this is a show. This is our time. So if you like what we're doing, please like the live stream. Also, don't be scared to donate. You know what I'm saying? Donations help. Everything goes towards furthering this content, So I want to be able to bring more guests, so the better this goes, the more guests we could get. I've been doing panels recently, so that's pretty fun too. What else? I want to thank everybody for supporting. Last time I did a live stream, I think I was around when I had 10,000 subscribers. So we're like almost 5,000 subscribers after that. We grew like 50% since my last live stream. Shout out to all the new subscribers and new supporters. I appreciate you guys. And I want to hear more feedback. What I've been trying to do recently is responding to all the comments on my videos. It's kind of hard because sometimes some of my videos gets hundreds of comments, but I try to respond to every single person. So please, if you watch my videos, keep commenting. I'm going to keep responding. And you guys help me come up with ideas for new content. What else we got here? Oh, I want to mention this because I do want to start doing. I don't know. Do you guys want to see me start doing panels? And so this question is for the live viewers, but it's also for people watching on the playback. If you want me to do panel shows, please comment. Okay, everything's driven by research. The more I know what you guys like, the better I can cook up content for you guys. All right. All right. So here's some of the things I'm thinking about talking to Jeff about. And so if you guys that are watching live, tell me what you think about it. So one of the things, Jeff, I've been trying to follow some of his interviews. He got, oh my God, he has like a ton of interviews. The dude's like brand new to the manosphere, but he's just been everywhere, right? Shout out to him, and I'm glad to support him. So watching some of the interviews, I know he talks a lot about dating, some of the dating crisis, modern things that are happening. One of the things I want to talk to him about is dating apps, right? Because dating app is an interesting phenomenon. I'm curious to see his viewpoint as someone who met his wife off of a dating app, right? So I want to kind of try to figure out what's his thoughts about that, because some people are for dating apps, some people are not for dating apps. Clearly he's for dating apps because he's met his wife from dating apps, but not all men have success on dating apps, right? Like a lot of men struggle with the dating app, so I kind of want to figure out what's his overall take on dating app. Is that a prescription for all men, or should only some men use it? I was listening to an interview he did with Pearl, and Pearl was talking about how she knew fat women who got over 5,000, 10,000 matches on Hinge. And I'm just like, what? 5,000 matches on Hinge? Like, I thought I had a lot of matches. Guys, I did a video last year, and I talked about how I had over 500 matches, and people thought I was bluffing. So I had to do another video, and I had to show proof. I had to show receipts, but I would love to see the receipts of a girl who has 5,000 matches. Jesus Christ. Also, I think I want to talk to him about the black community. So look, what makes Jeff St. James interesting to me as a content creator is he's kind of in the Kevin Samuels lane, except for he has academia behind him, right? So I want to ask him about, what's your thoughts on the current state of the black community as far as like black women and the wigs, the lashes. Like, he's married to a black woman, but he was once married to a white woman, which is very interesting. That's kind of like, I also want to ask him about that. A lot of women say from the dating apps that they wouldn't date a man that dated a white woman, right? I did several videos of women saying, I won't date a man who dated a white man before or dated a non-black man. So I want to ask him about that. King Sigma, shout out, brother. Shout out. Shout out to everybody coming in. If you're coming in, just please hit the live. We're just going to warm up everything for the guest. The guest should be here in 10, 15 minutes or so, or maybe even sooner. He has the link. So whenever he's ready to jump in, I'm ready to go. But if you guys have questions you want me to ask him, please ask. Also, I'm going to see if he wants to take some live callers. So we're going to make this a live call-in show where people could call in, ask questions. I want it to be where, like, I get some feedback from the community, right? So if you got questions for Jeff, please let us know in the comments. Please like the video. Help the video get out there. What else? All right, so let me run down a list of things that I think I want to talk about. Maybe you guys could help me brainstorm, because I had like such a long list of things I was thinking about saying and talking about, but we have limited time, limited energy. And, part of me thinks just have a conversation, right? Like flow, right? What do you guys think? Should I just have a conversation, or should I just go through a list of questions, right? Like, that's kind of the thing I could do. So if you for conversations, let me know conversations. If you feel like I should ask them just a list of questions I have, I'll go through the list of questions. Okay. He has some of the questions, so I'm going to be real with you. Like, I didn't want to like surprise him with a bunch of questions. I wanted them to be prepped and ready. But so let me know if you think we should just have a conversation. I just abandon the questions, or should we hone on some questions? So this is something I don't usually do, right? And I'm thinking about what I'm thinking of is like, I'm thinking like, all right, if I start doing this and I become like the Vlad TV of the manosphere, where I just like interview people and we talk about dating, we talk about relationships, should I really go off a script, or should I go should I just go off the dome like I do with my videos? If anyone watches my videos, y'all know I'm just off the dome, or should I just go, word by word, question by question? Okay. That's kind of the thing. Couple of things I want to talk about. So I'm going to just share with you guys, because you guys are here. You're here early. Shout out to y'all. What determines a woman's sexual market value? I think this is a really important thing, because men and women don't agree on this, right? What determines a woman's sexual market value? Harry Thomas Jr. said, write an outline. I have, bro. I have like 3 outlines. I've wrote like 3 outlines. You know what I'm saying? And part of the reason why I think it's hard for me is because I'm not I run an unscripted channel. So nothing I do is scripted. I don't really plan out my videos. That's why you guys see me writing things down. I'm writing it down because I'm like learning about the video as I go along, and I'm trying to figure out what I want to respond to. And women make like millions of points. You know what I'm saying? So I have questions. I like literally have a list of questions I want to ask, but I'm the kind of person where I have too many questions, right? So like, I know the things that he's not going to want to talk about, right? Like, I know there's things he's not going to want to talk about. So, that's the thing. So do you guys want to hear me talk more about like celebrities? Like, do you want his like prescription on like celebrities? Like, should we talk about the Ebony K. Williams? Should we talk about the Tia Mowry? Should we talk about the Cheyenne Bryant? Right? Some of these people he probably not going to want to talk about because he might be meeting it and speaking with them very shortly. So that's kind of a thing. I'm still going to ask it, and he could just, whatever question he doesn't want to talk about, he doesn't have to talk about it. That's that. Let me see. Harry says, that's how I stumbled upon your channel when you're at 12K subscribers. Thank you, brother. I appreciate you. Appreciate you. Yeah. And you know what? screw it. Let's have some fun. I'm gonna put the link in the chat. If anybody wants to join, I'll give somebody. While I'm kind of warming up, if you guys want to join, we have a quick conversation before Jeff comes in. We can have. So I'll put the link in the description. If anybody want to jump in, give you guys a little treat for showing up early. So let me put the link. Let me see how I add the link in the description. So yeah, for the next 15 minutes, anybody wants to join in, you guys can join in. We can warm it up before Jeff gets here. You know what I'm saying? Warm it up, have a discussion. Link is in the description. Okay. Let me know if y'all want to join. We'll warm it up. Okay. Anyway, appreciate you, Harry. And shout out to everybody that's watching live. And shout out to everybody watching on the playback. Okay. So link is there. Okay. All right. So, and I'm going to leave that link only for about, like I said, the next 10 minutes. If you guys want to join, whoever's in here that want to just talk really quickly, we can make that happen. All right. So let me know if you guys want me to talk about this. I got a list of celebrities I want to go through. And I also have a list of general questions. And I figure we're going to do some variation between having a conversation and, scripted questions or whatever. Harry says, talk about the female loneliness epidemic. It's a crisis. Yeah, I can write that down. I like that. Female loneliness epidemic. Yeah, I was watching another one of his interviews, and he mentioned that. He was talking about how, 2030, that's the big year where supposedly we're going to see if many women are going to be childless and unmarried. And that's going to be the norm for women 35 to 25 or something like that. I mean, 35 to 40 or 25 to 40. They're predicting women to be childless and unmarried by then. So I could talk about that. All right. What's up, brother?
Hey, it was good.
Oh, you're frozen. Your connection might be bad, bro. Okay, I kind of
frozen.
Nah, you a little better now. Okay. What's going on, brother? Where you calling from?
Not much, man. Like I said, Greenville, North Carolina, home of East Carolina University.
Shout out to you, brother, man. Appreciate you, man. What made you start listening to the content?
I'm gonna keep it a buck with you. Normally, I listen to Lapeef, and Anton Daniels.
Okay.
And what happened was, it must have been the algorithm, because when how like you got a video up and then there's other videos on the bottom as you're scrolling, and Call Me Shake was there. So I'm like, okay, well, what's he talking about? And ever since then, bro, like I'm gonna have to keep it a buck. I was going through video after video after video, just because, especially when I'm at work, because I work for the Department of Veterans Affairs. I'm a veteran, and I got a GS6 position there as a supply tech. So when I'm ordering products, I just keep, podcasts going to keep my mind moving.
Yeah.
Play some music. And so that's really what. So I like the cut that, because they have to be regimented. There's others that flow better that way. Even if you, that's what drew me to the channel. So I keep you in rotation. I do.
I appreciate it. Say it again.
That's what keeps me on the channel. I keep you in rotation. So when I'm at my job, if I'm ordering products, doing what I got to do, I keep podcasts going. It keeps my mind running. So any video that pops up, as soon as I see it pop up, I'm watching it. You know what I'm saying? I also watch Beast Mode Smooth Reacts. I don't know if you heard of him, Beast Mode Smooth Reacts. I watch him. Some of his stuff. And it was crazy within the community of the different podcasters, whatever, kind of feedback off each other. You know what I'm saying? Like y'all play a video of somebody else and then boom. And I think that's cool, man. And but it's really helping people, just my little story myself. I learned a lot. You're gonna have to head to the room, son, okay? I'm on the phone. What up? Just sit down. So yeah, it's my little man. But yeah, as a man, I had a father. I had a nuclear family, and he taught me a lot. I got married. Things didn't work out.
Okay.
a lot of the stuff that I'm learning now, I'm pouring to my oldest son, so he knows what to expect when he gets out there, because he's 17.
Hi.
Okay, what's up, little man?
His name's Kobe. So
what's up, Kobe?
What's up?
Stay strong, man. You gotta do powder, man. You listen to your daddy.
Yeah, man. I'm putting that joke in football, man.
There you
That's
go.
all you talk about. I want to play football.
I found this.
I don't know what that is. Okay. But yeah, I ain't gonna be on the phone long. There's other people that want to jump on.
Yeah. I wanted to so you said you learning. What do you feel like you're learning though? That's an interesting thing.
Well, just not to speak general. The main things that I've learned as a man, I want to keep it short. My dad was one of six. He was the middle child. He grew up in Brooklyn, New York. His older brother, Gigi, had street cred. He played the drums and basketball in school. He was popular. His foreign son, i.e. me, is the complete opposite. So he would give me some game, but my dad never had problems getting it. You know what I'm saying?
So he was a natural.
Right. And so there was that disconnect. Even though he was there, my dad did 20 years in the Marine Corps, married to my mom for 41 years. You know, he gave me some game, but it didn't translate. Long story short, what I'm getting at is I started understanding about sexual market value, things like that. And then as I began to listen to what a lot of these, I'm like, dang, I would get these comments from my ex-wife, comments from my ex-fiance, my younger son's mother. I didn't say nothing, but I always felt it in here, but I didn't know how to talk it. So when I listen to, and so now, if I know now, and I love my kids, don't get it twisted, I just would have been focusing on getting a career, getting established. I would have known where, you know what I'm saying? Like, and it's no different than the all we said, look, what was I supposed to do? Because when I went to my black woman and they told me I'm doing too much. They told me I'm doing too much. I'm not, boom, ill. So he went, he's like, what was I supposed to do? Because the market is telling me you're not. Likewise.
Right.
I literally thought this could be.
Yeah, you're breaking up. Your Wi-Fi breaking up a little bit.
Okay.
Yes. You gotta say, see if you can switch it out. I want to hear what you gotta say. You know what I'm saying? So see if you can switch it out.
No, I was just saying that because I got Wi-Fi, so I'm close to the thing. But what I was just saying was, growing up in naivety, I thought I had a shot like most men do. You know what I'm saying? Most things like that. But I would get the same reaction every time, even when I became an adult, and it didn't click. And even though I would give effort and things like that, I ain't gonna lie, like I was to some degree.
Everybody was.
I do this, and I show Kobe going to room now because I can't talk to you at the time. So what I meant was, younger, I thought, hey man, if I show her I love her,
if you do the right thing, if you do the right thing,
and that's not the case. That's not the case. And I had home, dude, like you can't, and I got the results I got. So, but saying all that to say, the fact I listen to it now because now I'm 41.
Okay.
I'm retired. I got an Army pension. I'm a GS6. I'm about to get a 7 position. Not married.
Okay.
So you're starting to see women that play. You kind of get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I wanna listen to what you guys say. You kind of break up. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna bounce you, but talk about it in the comments, and I'm gonna try to have a conversation with you in the comments because I don't want to ruin the broadcast. You feel me? And I think you're having a go. But my brother, I appreciate you. Yo. Keep supporting, man. And I'd love to see you comment on the videos so I can comment back.
For sure.
All right, brother. Yeah, I like to listen to them. A lot of people think I'm just like arrogant and prick. I like to listen to what my audience gotta say personally. You know what I'm saying? I like to listen to what the audience gotta say. I'm the kind of person where you know, I'm not too big, or I'm not bigger than the program, right? I'm one of you guys. I'm a regular person. I might have had a different experience, but ultimately we're all dealing with the same batch of women. You know what I'm saying? So thank you. I appreciate you, brother. 41 years old, been following since I had 12,000 subscribers. So he's been a follower since this year. I appreciate you from South Carolina. Shout out to my brother, Mr. Shout out to Mr. long-term supporter as well, man. I appreciate you, my guys. You guys coming in, please like the video. We're about to welcome Jeff St. James. I just started it because I was like, all right, let me just warm it up for him. You guys can give him a nice warm welcome. And please, if you got questions for him, please put your questions in the comments. Go subscribe to his channel, Ask a Brother podcast. Okay, good stuff, man. He's blowing up fast. And you know what I think about this dude? They've been calling him the red pill therapist, right? I thought that was kind of funny. He's a red pill therapist. But for me, he's just a brilliant guy who he has a real opportunity, right? We lost Kevin Samuels. And I kind of feel like everyone wants someone to fill Kevin's shoes, but we might have someone that could kind of exceed Kevin, right? And the reason why is because he's well-spoken. He knows how to keep his tone under control, right? He's kind of the opposite of a lot of us red pill podcasters, right? Like I've seen him on panels, and dude knows how to keep his composure, and he knows how to talk to people. So maybe, right, we're going to learn how to communicate with women better because of Jeff St. James, right? Women have said that because of Kevin Samuels, men are more argumentative. And so they kind of hated Kevin Samuels for that. But let's see what kind of how Jeff and he grows to his career. Maybe as men will improve our communication, right? So without further ado, let me bring up my brother. I know it's a little early, okay? He's always on time, but let me bring up my brother Jeff St. James. Brother. Let me see. Let's see if you test the audio. I can't hear you just yet. No, I can't hear it. Keep it working. Yeah, no, still no, not yet. Did you test it in the green room? Why are you doing that? Harry says, I have a retirement and an amazing federal career, and I know what to look for because I work around a lot of single women and single mothers, and I know how to navigate that for now. Yeah, brother, that's why, the content helps because we all have a discussion about it, All right, Jeff is he's gonna try to work out. So he's having some technical stuff. He'll be back though. He's just getting his mic right. Okay, he's just getting his mic right. All right. Technical difficulty. And these type of things happen. Don't worry, guys. We're gonna have an amazing show. Like the video. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. We're about to get it cracking, man. I'm gonna wait for Jeff to come back in. In the meantime, if you guys if you have questions, please, this is your time now. Ask the questions because I'm gonna run through the questions I got. So let me know what you guys have to say, and we can talk about it. We can talk about it. Millionaire always says much love and support. Appreciate you, bro. I see you in the comments a lot. My man's getting busy. I know a lot of women attack you. Yo, support my man Millionaire Oi when you see him in the comments, bro. He got a lot of girls going attacking him for telling the truth. Shout out to you, brother. I appreciate you. And I'm gonna remember to make you a moderator. He's perfect for a moderator. So shout out to my brother Millionaire Oi. Shout out to him. I think it's Oi. I don't want to mess up his name. Maybe it's Hoy. I don't know. I think it's Oi, like Spanish. All right, so we're waiting for Jeff St. James to get back. All right, so a couple of things that are on the menu to talk about. We got to talk about dating apps, right? We got to talk about someone said talk about the female loneliness epidemic. I want to talk about that too. What else you guys want us to talk about? While he getting his tech down and organized, what else you guys want us to talk about? Okay. Millionaire said the H is silent. All right, that's cool. All right, so you Hispanic then, brother, right? Is Oi like that? Like Millionaire Today, I guess? Is that what that channel means? Millionaire Today? Or Millionaire Now? I think Oi is today, right? Let's see. All right, yeah. So sexual market values on the agenda for today. Do men benefit from therapy? Ooh, that's a great question I want to ask my brother. Uh Delaying motherhood. Ooh, we got some good ones. Oh, the H isn't silent. Millionaire Hoy. Okay, okay. Mr. Mr. Shout out to Mr. Mr. Appreciate you, brother. The H is a Millionaire Hoy. Okay. I like that. Hoy's a cool name. My bad, brother. My bad, my bad. I can't read. You know what I'm saying? I don't got my glasses on. I don't even got glasses. Okay. I'm surprised I'm able to drive without glasses. Okay. I think I'm nearsighted or something. So Jeff is still working out the technical issues. Bear with us, guys. We're about to have this show up and cranking. In the meantime, Miss Smith said I absolutely benefited from therapy, but I was back in the 99 2000s. Why did you even go to therapy though? I'm curious about that. That's actually, but yeah, I'm only bringing up the whole therapy thing because you know what I mean. Women say, "Oh, you need to heal, go to therapy." Like the assumption is like everyone needs therapy as a baseline, right? That's kind of like the thing that people talk about all the time. We all need therapy, right? We all need to be healed. Well, Ali Ha says, "Why do women run from accountability?" I like that. I'm gonna put that down. We're gonna use that accountability. I like that. But specifically, why did they run, huh? Well, I don't want to answer for him, but I think I have the answer to why he says that. Okay. Why do women want to know your emotional soft spots? Ooh, yeah, they want you to be emotionally, what do you call it? Emotionally available, right? Yeah, I like that too. I'm gonna write that one down too. Emotional soft spots. Maybe what I could do is I'll give him a list of things and see what he wants to talk about, and then we'll run through it. See what kind of works for him. You know. Let's see what's going on. Harry says some people go to therapy to go to therapy. What do you mean by that? Like, there's just something to do. Like, I know sometimes people go to therapy because they want to talk to somebody. They want to have like they want someone to listen to their problems. So I agree with that. Some people definitely go to therapy just to like something to do, I guess. Mrs. I was 15 and I got in trouble, and the police court mandated to go to therapy for a year. We talked about a lot about my life experiences to help me understand the BS I lived with. That's an interesting thing. So I could see. So I think therapy might be good for. Yeah, I don't know. I could see what you're saying about that, though. I agree that there's probably value for therapy for people that are troubled or they got like trauma and stuff like that. So there's definitely an argument for that for sure. I can see that. Yeah, I can see that. But ultimately, I think like every girl, like nowadays, like if you want to date a girl, she's gonna say, "Oh, have you been?" Like that's one of the things they want to know. Like, have you been to therapy? Like, if you look at a lot of dating profiles for girls, they'll say shit like that, right? Like on a dating profile, they want to know, did you go to therapy? Like, are you healed? Right? Harry Thompson Jr. says they're not going to solve the problem. It's like a talking point to say, hey, my therapist this and my therapist that. You know what? I agree with it. Like it's kind of like a badge of honor, right? It's kind of like, yeah, I got a therapist. I go to therapy. Like, yeah, I agree with you. It's kind of like that. Like it's kind of like to say you go to therapy is to say like, I know it all. Like I'm smart. I got to figure it out. Like I got a therapist. Like I see people do that all the time. I'm a personal trainer. I see people do that with personal training. Personal training. I'm like, I got a personal trainer. People do that with finances too. They'll say like, "Oh, I got a what's the dude that who what's the person that does your finance, but it's like a financial. What's that financial professional? I got a financial advisor." People say. Millionaire Hoy says therapists can be a good soundboard, but I don't think it caters to black men, and I don't. And you know what? The good thing about Jeff St. James, he talks about that too. He says like how like therapy is so gynocentric and kind of based off of a female worldview. Like the kind of goal that therapy has right now in modern times is for men to think more like women. And that's why I think he's going viral, because he can kind of push back against that, you know? Mr. Smith said, therapy helped me put a lot of things in perspective, and it helped me understand how I feel about certain things. I learned the meaning of the word indifferent and how it shows up in some relationships. It's funny how many of us learn the word indifferent so late in life, but I see young kids who are smart. They know that word like early on. It's crazy because the more words you know, the better you could express yourself. Like right now I'm going through like this logic like class, and I'm learning about logic, and I kind of know about logic, but like, you know, you hear people say like deductive reasoning, and then there's also inductive reasoning and abductive reasoning, and it's like you learn these words and like, oh, I understand this stuff. And then I came across like, I guess I could probe Jeff about this, like the 3 laws of logic. What the hell? There's 3 laws of logic? Bro, I don't know. So I'm learning a bunch of wild stuff, and it helps me explain what the hell's going on in conversation a lot, the more words you know. Mr. Smith says, my therapist was a curly-haired white woman. She did most of the talking, which is uncommon, but she was extremely helpful. I don't know if you'll find anyone like her nowadays. Probably not. I would assume that like that type of thing is gone. You know what I'm saying? Like, I doubt it. I don't think you'd find that kind of stuff anymore. Plum Drop Podcast. Plum Drop. Shout out to Plum Drop. Are you a girl or boy? Plum Drop. What the hell's respectfully, but what's a plum drop? I gotta Google that. What the hell's a plum drop? But shout out to you, man. Greetings. Appreciate the support. Guys, if you hopping in, please like the video. Subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed. Shout out to my boy. Okay, Jeff St. James says has some technical issues, so he's gonna be back up soon. Okay. All right, so don't worry. We're going to have him up soon. It's all good. It's all good. He had to just restart his computer. Okay, Plum Drop says he's a female. Look, and, you know, shout out to you. I appreciate you. I really want to hear from what the women support the channel, because I meet women that support my channel, and they tend to be married women. There are a lot of older women, too, who say that a lot of these women are crazy. So shout out to all the women are, you know, condemning the women. But as a female, why do you follow the channel, and what do you like about the channel? I want to hear about that. And also, if you have a question for Jeff St. James, let me know. We're about to bring him up soon. Harry says, what do you think about the max amount of time if you meet a woman and she says she has been going to therapy for 5 years? For me, anything more than a few years is a red flag to me. Yeah, that's a good question to ask about him. You know, it's kind of, and I don't want him, you know, I don't want him to invalidate his profession, right? Because honestly, like, and I could say this about my profession. So let me start off with me being a personal trainer on the side, because, you know, some of you guys know I'm a personal trainer, like 10 hours a week, right? I have like about 12 clients, 13 clients. I train about 12, 13 people. Ideally, it'd be great if I didn't exist. If there weren't any personal trainers, if you could just train yourself. But people don't know, and it takes a long time to figure out and get the wisdom of how to apply fitness knowledge to an actual workout routine, and to structure it, and to progressively overload it. So I have value in that way, and I don't see that kind of vanishing out of thin air. So I would like to see what he thinks is, you know, appropriate amount of time for someone to have a therapist, but I don't know. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna have to figure that out. I don't know. Plum the podcast says, I found you from Jeff. This is my first time seeing you. All right, good. So you're here for Jeff. I appreciate that. All right. Appreciate you. Yeah, you're in for a treat. You know, women tend to either love or hate me. I'm polarizing. It's like one or the other, right? It's not, there's no middle ground. Okay. You either love me or hate me. Okay. Definitely can't be indifferent, like what Mr. Mister was talking about. Shout out to Millionaire Hoy, 10 big ones. Shout out to you, brother. I appreciate it. He said, bro, you have to start a channel membership. There are people that would like to support you and could offer less monetizable friendly content. Yeah, you know, it's funny because, and you know what, you're absolutely right. I'm going to start the membership soon. I think I'm going to wait till 20K though. So when we get to 20K, I'm going to start the memberships. And from there, you know, we could definitely make some like monetizable content or whatever. So appreciate you, Millionaire Hoy. I appreciate that. You know, you're absolutely right. I definitely need to get into that. So good feedback. Mr. Smith says Shape be snatching wigs off. That's why they don't like him. Yeah, I'm kind of, you know, I like real black beauty. And I know people hate me for that because they say you can't talk about a black woman's hair, but like, why not? You know what I'm saying? I talk about my hair, you know what I'm saying? I don't have any hair, right? I shave my shit bald, pretty much bald, is right. A low fever, light Caesar. So, you know, and women like it, right? Women like to rub my head. Pause. No homo. They like to rub the head. You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of the thing. Plum Drop Podcast says, I'm here for you too. If Jeff's here, you got to be worth me checking in. Looking forward to it. All right. Appreciate it. Yeah. All right. Cool. I'm with that. Millionaire Hoy says 20K is necessary. Those who will support. I started mine and didn't even advertise and got a few hundred members. Oh, wow. You know what? All right. Fair enough. I'm going to put membership up tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, that's actually a good way to prove it. You know, it's so funny. I'd be so into like working on the channel and doing the content. I don't think time about like working on the content itself. So yeah, you're right about that. Okay. So I will take your advice on that. I appreciate that. Ali Josh says, I hope that he breaks it down to the molecule. Men and women have totally different mentalities. Women trying to be men independent already declares who won the gender war. Yeah, I'm going to try to probe him on it. You know, I'm not going to give Jeff a softball interview. And I don't think anyone has anyway. He's in the manosphere, so people are going to ask him tough questions. But I kind of want to ask him some personal questions about his life, right? Because I'm big on being authentic, right? That's kind of my brand. I am who I say I am. So for Jeff to be who he says he is important to me. And we've had some conversations. So he sounds like he's a real deal. So we're about to bring him back up now. Millionaire always says, just create perks. People will join just to have an icon by their name and recognition. Plus, people can, should they were down with your channel before you blew up. Oh, say they were down with your channel before you blew up. Yeah, all right. You know what? You're right. All right. I will make memberships. I promise you, I'll make memberships. All right, let's see if Jeff is ready. I'm going to bring him back up and we can have this conversation. Thank you guys for all being here. Give my boy Jeff St. James a warm welcome. I want to see some super chats. Let's ask him some questions. Without further ado, Red Pill therapist Jeff St. James. Brother.
Hey, what's going on, man? My
okay.
bad. Some slight technical difficulties.
We were worried.
I'm in the building now.
We were worried. Okay, good.
Yeah,
good,
it was
good,
just
good.
I couldn't hear anything at first, so I was freaking out.
What was it? Just your computer just restarted and everything was fine?
Yeah, I just had to restart.
Okay. All right. You went a little floral today, huh? You're gonna be what's up? Why'd you go floral today?
Listen, I'm getting ready for Miami, man. About to fly out to Miami for a little bit. All right. I'll make a couple moves. Did you tell everybody yet? Or do you want to tell? I don't want to break your news. Did you tell everybody or not? Nah.
Okay.
I tend to let things happen once it goes down.
All right. So I ain't mention it either. So you know what I'm saying? I ain't gonna put your business out there. But shout out, yo, Miami should be a lot of fun, bro. I love like Palm Beach, West Palm Beach myself. One of my good friends live out there. So I love the food, love the weather. Yeah. You know, it's not your first time, right? You've been there before?
I've been there a few times.
Okay. All right.
Several times.
All right. So look, I've been trying to figure out how to do this because I sent you a list of questions, but part of me thinks like, yo, we could just have a conversation, right? Like we don't have to commit to the list of questions. So. But I do kind of want to go through a rapid fire of what's the first thing that comes to mind when I say certain subjects. What do you think? I've been watching a couple of your interviews and you haven't done that. So why not do that for something different, you know? So, all right. So, when I'm going to say the word or phrase and tell me the first thing that comes to mind. It could be a word, 2 words, or a very short sentence.
Okay.
Cool. All right. First one, red pill. Did you freeze?
Sorry. What you say?
Okay. I don't know if you froze or not.
Yeah. What'd you say?
Red pill.
Truth.
Okay. Tracy Ellis Ross.
Lost.
Ooh, that's a good one. Kevin Samuels.
Legend.
Donald J. Trump.
Conflicted.
Okay. Candace Owens.
It only has to be one word?
One word or a small sentence?
Right sometimes.
Okay. All right. Meg Thee Stallion.
Jeez. Free Tory.
Damn, yeah, free Tory. Shout out to Tory, man. Free Tory. Damn, that's a good one. The Second Amendment.
Necessary.
The free sex movement.
Unfortunate.
Born again virgins.
No such thing.
All right. We got Jeff St. James in the house, man. Let's go. That was good. How'd you feel about that? That was pretty good. You did good.
Yeah, other than what was the one that's not the free sex movement? I think that's complicated. I definitely think that's a little complicated. I think that I do think that we should be allowed to have choice, but I think that some of the consequences that's come with it has been really detrimental to us in society.
Yeah, I seen you said that to Pearl. So to prepare for this interview, I try to watch a lot of your stuff, and bro, you got a lot of content already, man. And it's crazy because you're talking to someone that I put out like what, north of 600 videos this year. And you know, you got a lot of content out there, and a lot of hours worth of content. But you said to her, if I could recall correctly, that the reason why, because she was trying to argue that most women want to be 304s, they want to be hoes, they want to sleep around, and you disagreed with her. You said that no, you think women are more concerned about having like choice and agency and their own autonomy. You know, can you kind of speak about that a little bit? I thought that was a pretty interesting thing right there. So
yeah, no problem. So my like when we say a woman wants to be a hoe, those are people who are outwardly doing the things that we would typically associate with that. If you take all the strippers, all the OnlyFans models, all the escorts, all the prostitutes, if you add up all the women doing any type of form of formalized, clearly recognized sex work,
right,
and you compare it to all the women that are not, what all the other women are doing is trying to move in such a way where, you know, they're like, a lot of them, I think the majority of women are just dating, getting in relationships. They're trying, of course, there's women that's just doing casual sex. My vantage point is like huge sections of women are just dating and picking wrong. Trying to mate select based on their emotions. I don't think all of them are like trying to be hoes, or all of them are trying to be whores. Like, nah. Now am I to say like no women are? Of course, there's women that just want to identify and live that and are proud of it. I don't think, although it's more common, it's more normal. Nah, I actually still think that there's a lot of women that we end up maybe putting them. I think people are putting them in that bucket. I think when you do the whole all men are this or all women are that, I don't know that that's a real accurate assessment of what's going on. I think the majority, you know what, I won't even go so far as a majority. I think there's a huge percentage of women that, if we're being honest, most women you probably know in your life, they're probably trying to get in relationships, in and out of relationships. They're working and not working. The body count's going up. And then before you know it, everybody's saying, oh yeah, she's a whore now. And I'm like, that's probably what's happening. You went for, you went, you know, you may have had casual sex here or there, but like you picked wrong. The guy had good game. He sold you a dream. You got with a guy and he cheated. You got with a guy and he left you, or you left him, or y'all grew apart. Like, that's also real life stuff that's happening, man. So I think it's a little bit more complicated than just saying everybody wants to be a whore. Now, in reality, if now we want to say that they want to escape the consequences of those choices. Now that I do agree with, and I think that that's almost all of them. And it doesn't matter whether you a sex worker, an escort, you on OnlyFans, you picking wrong with date, you getting divorced. None of them want to be treated for the choices that they're making. Now that's different. I would say that almost none of them want to be judged for their past choices or decisions that didn't work out sexually.
You know, so you're how old are you?
35.
Okay, I'm 37. So we would have went to high school together.
Mm-hmm.
Bro, in high school, it would have been impossible to see our classmates' ass the way that kids in high school now. Now, every girl has her ass online, right? And that you know, if you had told me back in the day that one day a girl is going to share pictures of her scantily dressed in bikinis so the whole public could see, I would have never believed it. Like that was never the case. Like, bro, I went to school with girls. I've never seen them in a bikini in my life, but now that's a normal thing. Like every girl you go to high school with, from what I could tell, all their Instagrams have them in bikinis. They got that like the butt shot, right? That didn't even exist when you turn your back to the camera. That didn't exist when we were in high school. So I think about that and I say to myself, would any of these girls, like, they have no problem taking pictures of them wearing two-piece bikinis, thong bikinis. Would any of them really stand in a crowd and show and pose the way they pose in front of a live audience, the way that they're doing now online? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I definitely think it's more common. I definitely think it's more prevalent on social media. But let's say only 30% of women weren't doing that on social media. Only 30%. 70% of women are twerking, bending over, cleavage is crazy, thongs is showing, you know, like let's say 70% of them. When you factor in the percentage of women that are older that's not doing that, you factor in the percentage of women that's not even on social media, like this is where I'm getting at, where it's like sometimes we do this thing where whatever's the loudest trending thing on social media, we tend to project that onto entire groups. So a great example of that would be the Black community. Is everybody a thug? Is everybody a gangster? And ask an average Black dude who's not, whether you're from the block or not. Yo, like I work in Philly. I'm around Black men and Black women almost my entire day, every single day for years. None of these people fall into that category of what the stereotype is. So there's far, far, far more people that I'm interacting with and knowing and living and working around, both our clients and coworkers. Almost nobody I know is like this. Now, there's exceptions to the rule, but like for every one person that's like that, there's 10, 12 that's not. So that's where I'm kind of at, where it's like, yeah, there's definitely a noticeable normalized trend in regards to more recreational sex. People being able to date more freely. Women's body counts being higher than it was 10 years, 20 years, 30 years ago. Absolutely. You'd be a fool to deny that. But I think sometimes like our image of the global, the people around the world that are not Black, whose perception of what Black Americans is like is based off of social media. And then when they get here and they realize the rough parts of the urban areas are an accurate representation of all Black people. Is all the Black men that's in prison a representation of the millions that are not in prison?
No, that's a good point. That's a good point. But I won't lie. I mean, I want to talk about dating apps with you too, because that's like a phenomenon that it's going to be like the new, when it comes to like having game, the new skill is going to be knowing how to build a profile and message girls online, right? Like, that's going to be the norm now, because they say 50% of people or more couples are formed online. Yeah. Right. So, but I won't lie, bro. I've met women who say like their body count. I met a girl, she was 19 years old, and she bragged to me that her body count was only 19. Oh my God. And I looked at her, I said, only 19?
cooked.
I said, only 19? She's like, yeah, that's way smaller than my friends. My friends are in the 20s, like the late 20s. And I'm just like, 19 years old. She already has a body for every year she existed.
Yeah.
So, and that's being conservative, right? Like clearly she did more than one body in a year and she wasn't sleeping around since she was, right? When she was born. So, but I say that to say that I think the definition of whole is changing.
That's fair.
So what is not a hoe nowadays would have definitely been a hoe back in our day.
Yeah. Yeah, I can understand that.
Like for her to say 19 is not a big number was just like, I dated a girl in high school. She told me her body count was 10. And I was like, I got the whore. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what I thought. So, and also like the amount of women that have OnlyFans. Oh, it's a lot. There's like a lot, right? So, I think we're in a weird place where you're right. Like, is it a misrepresentation? Is it everybody? No.
Yeah,
it's kind of the zeitgeist still, right? You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like
it is. It's definitely, it's definitely, man, being pushed. It's definitely being propped up. But I would rather say it's probably better to speak on these things generationally, personally, right? So I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm mid-30s. I definitely saw in our generation on social media a noticeable shift. So when I was in high school, one of the big things I started to note was from freshman year to senior year. Freshman year was one girl pregnant. By senior year, it was starting to become like a trend. And I was like, oh, like this is like high schoolers, like at the time, this was still like a thing. But by junior year, people, we were starting to get used to like seeing girl after girl starting to get pregnant. It was like becoming a thing, right? So when you have older millennials who don't act this way, who don't dress this way, and then you got millennials that's more in my range, who it's kind of like 50-50. And then by the time you get to Gen Z, you might be right that it's like 80% of them is kind of moving like this. When we say all women, you have to factor in more than just Gen Z and the youngest millennials. So that's really where I'm coming from. Yeah.
Okay, you're right. It's the younger things are changing with times, right? Things are changing. And it kind of leads me to another point I want to talk about, because in one of your interviews, you talked about how you addressed the whole 2030 conflict where, I'm gonna let you go into it, but from what I could take from it, you don't think the future looks good for us in dating in the very near future. It's like not that far from now. You know what I'm saying? So kind of help me with that. Like, what's your thoughts on this whole 2030 idea of what's going to happen with modern women?
Yeah. So 2030, always it's a combo of research, conspiracy theories, just different organizations, especially globalist related organizations. They've all talked about certain agendas to really shape and redefine what countries are, how economies work, how we earn money, just a whole host of things in terms of who controls that, who dictates that, right? So the big thing that we've noted in the last 3 years now, and we know it's not going to slow down, is AI. So we're having to acknowledge that we're seeing a rapid growth in technology that's way beyond what we saw in the 20th century, way faster. The AI we saw 2 years ago is nothing compared to what we're seeing now.
Yeah, no.
Right. So when we were all growing up, we could recall like when we went to Walmart or certain stores, like the long lines, it just take forever to like check out. And then over time you saw self-checkout, you saw less people working in those positions. This stuff has always been happening as technology got better. So in the past, this was originally happening with the men. When you think about it, it was like a lot of these men were getting those factory jobs. And then technology got better. They outsourced those jobs. They shipped them overseas. And then you saw these men who literally couldn't work. We saw it in our so we saw it within our community in the urban areas, Camden, different pockets in Ohio, Pennsylvania. You saw thriving communities that just completely like was abandoned, languished. And a lot of those men got left behind. They went on drugs. They just died. And you saw how at the time, women who were working or were getting benefits from the government, they started to kind of have to go with that option over their men. Well, now when you fast forward to today, you're now seeing an environment where in this fiscal year alone, I think it was in the last, I think like 6 months or something like that, over 300,000 jobs, Black women specifically, lost. That doesn't even include since the last election cycle. So when well over a quarter, that's just one small facet of the population within the country. So when those jobs don't return, and that really wasn't even about technology, that was just policy, that was just cuts. Now, what happens when the technology continues to get better? And I'm saying that a lot of the jobs that's probably going to be on the chopping block first are the ones where just require people to be at a computer, where the error rate is going to be significantly improved by just replacing the person with tech. So all these women that don't do all this manual labor jobs, especially outdoors, and they don't want to, and they're not going to be able to, when these jobs are cut, and now instead of it being a month or two for you to get another job or gig, even a small regular gig, it might be 6 months to 2 years. And if these people own cars, these people own homes, these people have student loan debt, and they're going to have to start figuring this stuff out. So in terms of relationships, I think a large percentage of humanity that lives in Western countries, this is eventually going to happen to, including men. But the difference is there will be certain positions that it'll take a lot longer for technology to catch up to replace them. So the first people on the chopping block, if me and my wife both lost our job today and couldn't find work in terms of the type of fields that we work in, I can go out on the field. I can go and do construction. I have a background in landscaping. She doesn't. My biological hardwiring is going to allow me to be able to stay outdoors longer, lift heavier, be able to endure the toil of that. She's not. So, and we talk about it all the time. So that's the reality where it's like a lot of these women that are walking around, especially liberal women and women in our community, talking and saying like, we don't need men aren't important and all this other nonsense. That's cool and all, but one president, one policy, one advancement in AI, and you could effectively be seen as useless and expendable. I think they're going to have a different tune.
But you didn't get into the, and I agree with a lot of what you're saying, and that's like the economic side. But so are you suggesting that's what's going to cause the breakdown of marriage? I mean, to me, what you're saying is going to cause more people to get, it's going to cause more people to get married.
Yes, it's going to do the opposite.
So, but okay, so we have two paths that are, I guess, happening simultaneously, right? One, people are going to get, some jobs are going to become obsolete.
Yep.
Right, which to me would be a good thing. Listen, if we have any kind of crisis in the community, like what happened with COVID, a lot of people got married around COVID. You know what I'm saying? Shockingly enough, and a lot of people got divorced too, because people didn't put time together, and when they started, they hated each other. But it taught a lot about how women from 40% of women between 25 and 35 or 40 are going to be single and childless.
Yep.
So you feel like that prediction might be off?
No, by 2040. So it's twofold. So you're going to have a percentage of these women who that's what's going to happen. And it's going to be a combo of their attitude when they lose their job. They may still have their job and therefore they keep living a lifestyle where they think those two things don't matter and are not valued. And then there's going to be the percentage of women that I'm talking about where they're going to be forced to adjust. They're going to be forced to reevaluate the central purpose and reason for why they're here and the value system. I think both things are going to happen. I think there's going to be the women who are lucky that work in the fields where it still requires them to be able to keep their jobs, and they're going to be able to keep pushing and kicking the can down the line. And then one day they'll wake up and realize, oh, maybe I should have prioritized this or this a little bit sooner or earlier. And it's going to be probably really difficult for them to ever have a child. And when they finally start taking it seriously, they're going to look around at all the women who are also competing, who are look just as good as them or better, has a better attitude and is younger. And it's going to be a lot harder for them to actually get that. And then the ones that are lucky enough to do it, they're going to start seeing guys that they would have never talked to, never given a chance to. I won't be shocked. So being the guys who has the skill sets, and basically what I'm saying is for myself in particular, I need to learn a trade. Like
you're concerned about it. Are you talking for real for you, or are you talking about this
in general? In general, like so. Although I'm a working professional and I've been working in the field for 10 years, my field is up for grabs too. Like this idea that like any field that requires a significant amount of human error, that isn't something that requires somebody to bend down and pick something up, can't be replaced. I don't know that we realize how much has changed in the last 15 years technology wise. How much has changed. And when these computers get good enough to be able to provide much better diagnosis, how many people, when they have a question about anything, are now asking ChatGPT and not their doctor or a therapist?
Oh, so you feel like therapy's on a chopping block because of like AI right away?
Yeah. So think of it this way: if OnlyFans is having AI chicks, if people are going less to libraries and less to books and even less to news, and they're going straight to their phones, you've been primed for the last 15 years to go to your device in your hand to go for everything. In the last 5 years since COVID, we are effectively at 95% telehealth. Almost nobody comes in for therapy anymore.
Are you serious?
Bro, we service 1,000 people.
Wait. Oh, slow down. Right now, how many patients how many people do you see?
We service 1,000 people in the city of Philadelphia a month.
And 95% of them are telehealth?
Therapists and doctors and nurse practitioners. Almost all of these people are receiving it via over the phone or via the computer.
Damn, that was a negative thing of COVID then. That was the reverse. I mean, it made it more accessible for people.
It is more accessible. It's easier. Now you don't have to commute. Now you don't have to worry about childcare. There's a whole host of things that made it convenient. Now what happens when the agencies realize that if they can make it good enough to where people feel like they can talk and be heard and the responses sound natural and real, and you think of it this way: although the human element has some strengths, it also has some weaknesses. There's things that you'll type in a computer or on your phone that you won't say out loud. So what happens now when you say it to the AI across from you that's not a real person? You can say anything. Now you're not worried about how they're going to feel about you after the fact.
I'll tell you one thing though. The CEO of ChatGPT said something that could be in your favor, and he said that people should be very careful what they say to ChatGPT because you don't have that client like attorney privilege. You don't have that privilege. Well, you have with a therapist, right? Well, I don't know. No. Can you tell your therapist you're going to do something illegal, and are you going to snitch on them, or how does that work?
It has to be more so if it's a crime has been committed, and even then there's a judgment call, and it's usually if they are at risk to themselves or others. Those are or it involves a minor. Those are typically the things.
Oh, you can't say that you did some pedophile stuff. You can't admit if someone confessed that to you, you have to go to the police, I guess.
Yeah, but if they were already if they were already prosecuted for it, then not. Like,
okay. Damn. No, you gotta. Okay, I thought I was gonna save you. I guess not. Maybe it'll save lawyers because lawyers still have that privilege where you can tell your lawyer anything.
I just want us to reimagine that anything that humans can do that doesn't require certain intricate human like physical actions, they can pretty much already are getting back, because remember, like, they have a different database. They can go through the entire DSM within seconds. The Diagnostic Statistical Manual. They can go through entire law books. They can go through entire spans of history in seconds to analyze data and come up with a better answer and response. This is teaching, professors, adding, subtracting, calculations. Like, when you think about all the things that we do to sustain ourselves, so much of it is things that we're like, I'm just saying that.
Wow.
I think it would behoove, especially men, I think it would be very helpful over the next 5 years for us, especially if you don't have a trade, to start exploring the possibility of learning one. So that's going to be my goal over the next 5 years, besides podcasting and continuing to do what I'm doing on the side. Try to learn a trade, get good at it, and just in the event that things shift or change.
I think someone in your position, because I in my personal opinion, this is a trade, right? Like, this is not easy. And you've been having you've been blowing up really fast. But let me tell you something, brother. It's not usual. Like your trajectory in podcasting, like you're being spoiled right now. Like this is not how it goes, right? You don't just gain. Because how long have you been on the scene now? Like how long has it been?
I started in January, but I was just doing it like once a month. I would meet with somebody. But in terms of the surprise from the people who know me and have known me for 10, 15, 20 years, are they surprised? Not necessarily. I think it's surprising to everybody that doesn't know me personally. It was more so about, I think there was more strategy involved in my end in terms of I've been studying and preparing to do what I'm doing now with you all 7 years. 7 years.
Yeah, that's different. So yeah, no, you had it.
So that basically it happened faster than even I thought. But the idea that I wouldn't be at this point, no, I don't think any of us, honestly speaking, didn't believe that it would be fairly successful. It going viral in my first year doing this, no. I think by 5 years, 3 years, 5 years, we did believe I would have said something that would have, people would have thought was interesting.
Yeah, no, you've had, so I could tell you for someone that been in this, like in the manosphere for the last like 2.5 years, it's a long road up, man. Because everybody, and so the couple things you're not doing, like reaction channels, you're not doing that at all, which is there's value to not doing it, but there's also value to doing it. I do reactions, right? So it's like my bread and butter. And the value for doing it is your people want to see clips of women saying the most delusional stuff on the internet. So me being like a narrator of all these wild clips of women, that's a valuable job for people, And so I built up a following doing that. But for you to go from 0 to almost 20K in the span of months, and God knows where you're going to end the year. I mean, it's possible you can have a silver player button by the end of the year. These things kind of, the way the momentum builds, it's a doubling thing. You know what I'm saying? So it's like you're at 20 now, but 40 could be like this, and then 100's right there. It's a doubling thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So just to clarify, if you've been studying something for 7 years and other people just kind of jump into it and figuring it out on the way, we're operating from two different strategies. It's just different techniques, right? So for me, my technique wasn't, like you said, reaction videos. My technique wasn't even doing my own content. My original strategy, once I looked at what worked for Kevin Samuels, what worked for Fresh and Fit, what worked for other different podcasters of all different spectrums of different fields within podcasting, was, all right, the starting point is when you're first getting out there and nobody who doesn't already know you in your personal life, how do you start getting introduced to different audiences in different pockets of people who wouldn't otherwise know who you are? One way is to just start shooting. I was like, nah, I don't like that. I think the better approach is to start with going to other people's platforms who already have followings. And if you start with that, you're instantly within 2, 3, 4 months, every week, you're going to be exposed to large groups of people who otherwise wouldn't know you. And you're jumping from white women, black men, gay people, political people. So now what you've done, if you space it out over 10, let's say 5 to 10 podcasts, and you just spread your net wide and you're intentional, by default, instead of 10 videos of your own, you did 10 appearances on 10 different podcasts with 10 different large groups of audiences ranging from 10,000 to 50 to 80 different thousand subscriber counts. Chances are, if you do just that, you're going to have a slightly different starting point than the average person who normally starts YouTube the regular way. So that was something I had already thought about and been planning for quite a while. And then number 2, you have to be very intentional about what you're communicating in terms of when you do this, what you're offering, what the topics are, and what they're sharing in terms of the content, so that you're allowed. So when I say, like, all right, in the last few years, when Instagram allowed us to be able to share, what's it called? When they add you as a collaborator, the last couple of years.
That was big.
So if you do those two things, when you go look at their page and everything is 5,000, 10,000, 20,000 views, and now your face is on it, and they have 20,000 people and you got 1,000 people, when they post 2-3 videos with you in it and on it, that's going to drive people to you. So it's no advertisement, it's no reactions, it's no solo content. I'm basically saying that I think people are reacting to something that they don't know that there was a method to getting here to this point. And did that mean that I thought it was going to happen this fast? No.
Here's the difference, though.
Yeah.
Your strategy worked perfectly for you,
mm-hmm.
and it can't be replicated because we don't have credentials as a therapist, right? Like you have that therapist credential already gave you a vantage point, and you had things you actually had a message before you even got here. I didn't have a particular message, you know. So I'm someone who had to learn how to entertain to build my name up. I built my name up from entertaining people. You know what I'm saying? So great strategy. It worked out flawlessly, and it's going to keep working out well for you. I support it. But I doubt it could be replicated. Because like I said,
there's people, there's definitely people who could do it and would be even better than me. There's a combo of things. So for instance, I could have tried this when I didn't have my license. I could have done this when I didn't have a decade of experience, and it may have not hit in quite the same way. So there was a series of things that I was waiting on before I did it. Now, just to clarify, I actually did do podcasting back in like 2017. I only did like 2 episodes. It was just some random stuff or whatever. Had the mics, had my own stuff, and I was doing it back then. And then I stopped. I got back more serious in my field when I got my license. I did a whole host of other things. And all that time I was studying and researching and watching. So when I finally did it this time, in my head, I thought it would take about 2 to 3 years for at least one of those interviews to, be noticed. So that's basically what happened.
You got to think, right? So we have podcasters we have YouTubers such as Mr. Beast. Like your world is faster than him.
Yes.
Like so I study YouTube like through and through, you know what I'm saying? And I've been doing it for 5 years and, like actually making videos. I have videos from 5 years ago on this channel. One of the things you learn about YouTube is people's first channel doesn't pop. Like
that was me. That was me. Yeah.
Okay, so you have prior channels prior to this.
2017. I said, I did an episode on Trump and whether he was racist. I did 1 or 2 episodes on like random little things or whatever.
Okay.
Yeah. So like, this was my point where it's like, I actually did this before a lot of people who are in it now. And I stopped and I spent the rest of the time from 2018 till this year actually studying, researching, looking at the pros and cons of the different strategies that different podcasters were doing. And because I was then, like you said, coming in with slightly higher credentials, more experience, and even a different approach to how I approached podcasting the first time, nobody that's in my life, friends, family, or coworkers, are surprised at all. Nobody.
No, you're fortunate. You gotta. So I think just from outside looking in, you got a good message. You definitely learn from the Kevin Samuels tone policing, so you know not to offend women. Because I've seen you on a panel, and bro, you were flawless. Like on the Lapeef panel, I was like, damn, this guy is sharp. Like you're talking to the women who are very difficult, and they weren't getting offended by you. And I think that's where you could help a lot of Black men in the manosphere, because we don't have a man teaching us how to talk to women in a way where we can get through to them. A lot of the issues we're having in the Black community is we're not hearing each other.
Fair.
Black women are not hearing Black men. I think the Black men hear the women. I just don't think the women hear us. Like we know what women want.
Yeah.
Like, Black men know what women want. It's not like, we just don't know. Some of us just can't provide it, right? Some of us don't have the money. Some of us don't have the resources. I want to ask you about that.
Quick thing before, don't lose your question you're about to ask me. When you make the statement that people are able to learn from me, the misconception is that I'm not learning from you all. If you guys have been in the red pill space for the last 3 to 5 years, you're bringing attention to things that maybe people didn't know, right? You're revealing an aspect of female psychology and manipulation tactics and strategies and ways in which men can protect themselves. I'm learning everything from everyone that I'm coming across. So it's just my style is different. My style's not going to work for everybody. My style's not going to work for everybody's channel. But don't like when I'm basically getting at, there's a purpose and place for Angry Man. There's a purpose and place for you. There was a purpose and place for Kevin Samuels. There's a purpose and place for Fresh and Fit. The person who's a learner is the person who's gleaning and taking what they can from all spaces where it's worth taking from.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm just trying to give you your props, brother. You know what I'm saying?
I appreciate it.
I'm worthless. I got my value. You know,
yeah.
Like, and that's one of the things I want to help you behind the scenes is learning how to really structure your channel so things look uniform. Like if you look at my channel, I got one of the most uniform channels.
Yeah,
my thumbnails are just like, I love my thumbnail where I'm at with thumbnails now because it's so easy for me to make it because it's just so predictable. It's like a template. I gotta just cut and paste and put it in. So I definitely want to help you with that behind the scenes. But what I wanted to get to was, so two things, right? And we can address them when you're ready to address them. One, I do think you can help us learn how to talk to women better. And we talked about this on the phone, how to be able to get our point across without being offensive. One of the things about me, and it makes me good for my channel, I'm very offensive, but you're innocuous, right? Like you don't offend anyone. Like you're just like,
oh no. You gotta read them comments.
Hold on. It's not you, it's the message.
Fair.
I'm saying our messages are the same. The message offends them. It's not what they want to hear. It's not you though, right? Kevin Samuels, it was Kevin Samuels that was it wasn't his message. Okay. It was him. Big Shirley, you get what I'm trying to say? It was him. So you kind of have a way, and we were talking about that on the phone, and we could discuss that first. So that's one of the things I want to talk about. The other thing I want to talk about is how do we help women determine, or what determines a woman's sexual market value? Because I think this is where a lot of the things are skewed. The reason why average men are struggling is because average women are overpricing their value, and they think they're more valuable than the average man. Right. And that's one part. So two parts. So first part is what are quick tidbits that men are in the space, not just like the average man, like even men like me. What advice you have for us for being less offensive to women when we're trying to communicate our ideas and our thoughts and our feelings?
In terms of on podcasts or in regular everyday life?
So like, for example, one of the things I like to say to women that offends them a lot is that, men, we like variety, right? Like I like polygyny, right? And I didn't want to get to now, but I want to just talk about that. Like, I think personally, like women are offended by the fact that men like multiple and younger women, right? They look at it like you're a bad person. So we can't even have the discussion of getting them to understand the fact that we want variety as a default, and that we're not pervs or predators if we're looking for a younger woman, right? So like, how are ways, let's not use that. How about this? This is a better one. I thought I was good. This is the better one. I just thought about it. How do we communicate to Black women that we like natural hair without offending them? That's something that women get offended by all the time. How do we communicate that we like the pixie cuts, the bob cuts, the braids, the locks? I love locks on a woman. Oh my God, locks on a woman is just like, if you want to you want to win me as a Black girl, lock your hair, girl. You're gonna win me. You know what I'm saying? But when we say that, it's met with a lot of resistance. Yeah. So how can we communicate that to women that we like a woman with natural hair?
Well, honestly, the starting point before we even open our mouths, we have to reevaluate our actions of what it is that we're communicating to them. Who is it that gets the likes? Who is it that gets flown out? Who is it that's getting in relationships? And who is it that's getting our time, money, energy, and resources? A lot of times our actions will say one thing and our words will say something different. A lot of the women who are wearing all that extra stuff are getting those things. So a lot of women are saying, I hear what you're saying, but we're seeing who y'all are risking it all for. We see who y'all dropping bags for. We see who y'all flying out. So their perspective and lenses is if a lot of other women are doing it, and I'm noticing that the women who are getting access to the money, the cash, the this and the that, happen to have the BBLs and have this and have that. That's one of the primary issues. is a lot of black men won't acknowledge that what we actually mean is we don't mind all that stuff for the other women who's not our main woman. So what we actually mean is all these other women I'm doing all these things for, when I'm having fun, I don't care about all that stuff.
Right.
In fact, it's appealing. But when it comes to the mother of my child, I actually don't want all of those things. But if our actions are saying in the black community, we're marrying at a very low rate. Many men are saying they're not going to get married. They have no intentions of getting married. And a lot of the women are getting that type of attention that are doing those things. You're trying to convince her about something that 90% of her reality and her perception is being shaped and saying the exact opposite. Number two, if you look at a dude's social media, who he surrounds himself with, who he follows, who he comments on, who he's ogling after, if it's all women who are wearing and having the very things you're saying you don't want your woman to wear, it comes off as conflicting information. That's just plain and simple. So for me, I have to acknowledge that's a thing. That's a thing. Like our actions and our words oftentimes don't align. Now we say, all right, so if our actions and words do align, how do we say it? Well, I start with encouragement. Instead of saying what I don't like, how about starting with stating what you do like? Right? So if a parent was talking to their child and they were constantly just going in on them about always what they did wrong, the kid that's starting to grow up and they're used to that, they get desensitized, they stop listening, they may even start rebelling, right? But the kid where you sprinkle in the criticism with praise, all right, the kid may be more likely to receive it. So an example would be, my wife can wear, whatever she wants to do with her hair, but I actually do encourage her and make it known when I really like her natural hair out. And she started rocking it more than she was before. I never said, I don't like when you don't have that. You need to take that off, right? So let's be honest, like the conversations have gotten so bad and so crass, right? To where they're already on guard because think of it this way. If these women feel like they have to do all of these things in order for them to look good and believe that society also thinks they look good. And then you're stating that all of these things are a problem and an issue and it doesn't look good. There are what's the likelihood that they will already be a little defensive and on guard? Probably fairly high, right? What's their level of security? What's a black woman's level of self-confidence if she has to put on Asian nails, Indian hair, get beauty products from white companies, and wear white brands, and get hairstyles that she thinks conforms to white culture and westernized culture? What's the likelihood that she's super open to hearing about you stating things you don't like that she has on, and how she's going to feel about that? Like, probably not very high. So for me, I already view it as a very sensitive topic, and I've seen the errors of what's happened when us guys have said this stuff, especially on social media in front of hundreds or thousands of people. Why would you know what? You're right, Jeff. Like, nah, it's not going to work for me either if I try to say the same thing. I think in reality, it's like, this is the whole emotional intelligence piece that I do think we can improve on as men. There is a way to speak to our women to get better responses. And this is just one of those examples where I think if we think about it a little bit more than just the truth is the truth. All right, well, that may work for you and the other guys around you, but you're not dating a dude. You're talking to a woman. Just a thought.
Damn, bro, you just schooled the hell out of me. Because you're right. And it's funny, I think about this and I'm like, damn, you know what? You're right. Like, every time I bring it up, I bring it up like, stupid, this is what we like. And like, how could that ever get through to anybody, right? No matter who it is, right? Whoever the subject is. Jesus, okay? Damn. You actually make me want to ask you a question for myself.
Sure.
I had a recent relationship with a girl. It didn't last long. And the reason why we fell out is because we had this one incident when we're having breakfast at my apartment. And the incident went like this. We're talking about men and women, and she had this idea that like it takes women a long time to get to know men. And I'm like, girl, I'm like, bro, you could figure someone out like this. As men, like I already know I could size somebody up within moments of being around them, right? So I was trying to tell her like, this is why I feel like women need men's help in dating, because like men, we can kind of see a lot of these things that women are looking for, that they have a hard time seeing.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, long story short, we got into a conversation where she started rebuttaling a point I didn't make. I didn't make this point whatsoever. So it's kind of like a logical fallacy, right? She started doing like a strong man argument. And I tried to stop her. Like I tried to interrupt her, not to be rude, but to interrupt her. Like I didn't make that point. You know what I'm saying? Like you're saying something I didn't, like and she's going on a long rant about it. And when she did that, I said to her, I tried to interrupt, and she's like, stop. She was like, stop. You're interrupting. You're not listening. And I got so mad because I'm like, bitch, you responded to something I didn't say. You're not listening. And I felt like it was gaslighting. I'm like, you said to me that I don't listen, but you responded to something I didn't say. Long story short, I cut her off after that. I'm like, no, first of all, you're not listening to me. Right. And then you're going to turn around and say that I'm not listening. Like, you know what I'm saying? I just felt like I was so offended by that. You know what I'm saying? And I essentially just like stonewalled her. Like, I drove her back to her apartment. I picked her up. I drove her back to her apartment, and I just gave her like the complete silent treatment. And she was like begging for me to like talk to her. Like she realized that I went like silent. Now she wants my like, oh, just talk to me. And I didn't want to tell her what I was mad about, because I kind of knew that like she would just like not take accountability for it anyway. So I used an analogy. I was like, can you, all right, imagine this, right? I said, imagine if you met someone that's like a habitual liar.
Okay.
And they accuse you of lying. How would that make you feel? Right? She was like, that person's absolutely ridiculous. And I say, exactly. Absolutely ridiculous. You know what I'm saying? That's how I felt about her. You know, she doesn't listen, but accused me of not listening. My question for you is what's the better way I could have handled that situation? Because my conclusion from that is that women just don't listen. Now, maybe they do listen, but my thought from that was like, they don't listen to hear you. They listen to respond. She was more concerned about what she's going to say to me as a response rather than actually addressing my concern. So,
so for starters, both sexes actually have their version of not responding well to things they don't want to hear. For women, in responding with emotion, sometimes they'll do exactly that tactic. They'll listen to parts of the conversation. They'll listen to pieces of words that you said, parts of the sentence, or they'll take out parts and put in new parts and then react and respond to that. Like, you know, and the big one is they'll reference things that happened before that have nothing to do with the current thing we're talking about now. Like, these are interesting, or they'll flip it and try to make you feel guilty for saying, like, there's a whole host of strategies that they do. Sometimes men will do some of those as well, but a big one with men is we'll stonewall. We'll stop talking. We'll shut down so that now conversation can't happen. So both sexes have their versions of what they'll do when they don't like how the conversation is going. Right? Now, in regards to that particular situation, there's a few ways in which I think it could have gone a little bit differently. The first is, and this is what I'm saying to guys in general, because I deal with it. I try to get better at it. And over the last, let's say 3 years, I've gotten so much better at it in comparison to like the last 10 years. Like it's a night and day difference for me. The first thing is actually slowing down before you think that you're going, because what happens is that I think we get into these spats and arguments with the ladies or women that we're with, and we don't realize that when you're going back and forth with them, you already lost. Imagine if taking an L or losing is matching a woman's energy. Then if you don't want to lose, or if your focus is to reach a solid conclusion or resolve things, matching her energy and trying to go back and forth in the moment when her emotions are high is highly unlikely. Right? So the minute that she's already showing an elevated emotion and it's not positive, you already should be starting to slow down how quickly you're saying something, what you're going to say, how you're going to, it's the equivalent of when you're driving a car and you start to see in the distant future, I mean, just in front of you, you start to see images that make it known you're about to crash into something. Would you keep going full-fledged ahead, or do you start tapping on that brake? Right? So the moment you see something in the distance that lets you know I'm about to crash, this is about to be a chaos, this is about to be chaotic, you start slowing down, pumping on that brake. All right, I hear you. I understand. So so that's the starting point. When they elevate their emotions and feelings, men who haven't gotten this piece down, we start elevating ours. Now we start trying to prove a point. Now we start trying to win the argument. Now we're going to change her mind like we ever do in that moment, which we never do, right? So what happens is, effectively, when we're driving real fast and we see something we're about to crash, in the conversation, when she gets too high or gets too emotional, we press on the gas harder instead of pressing on the brake and starting to slow down. What I'm suggesting is that if we start slowing down, there's a potential that she'll start slowing down with us. But if you start matching her energy, we all have experienced what happens with those conversations. They get crazy, they get volatile, somebody storms off. Now we're not talking the whole nine, right? So learning to slow down, be more selective with the words you're going to say. And then this is the key part. Stop assuming in the moment when the bullets or shots that she's shooting at you are going to actually hit you. What I mean by that is, not every shot, like if you're playing dodgeball, right? If you was in school, high school, college, or whatever, and y'all play dodgeball, every time somebody throws a ball at you, do you have to duck? Every time? Do you have to do?
Yeah, only if it's close to you, right? Only if it's
right. So you really only should be reacting to the things that's truly going to hit you. If she's saying things that's wildly not true, wildly not accurate, why are you reacting in the moment as if it is? Hold on. Hold on. Am I cooking?
You're cooking, bro. But I want to say this because you're embarrassing me. I feel like on my own show.
Yeah. Well, think of it this way, man. If you go by shape and I keep calling you something else,
right?
If you know what your name is, you wouldn't react or respond to I address you correctly. So if you're saying things that's not true, your emotions is elevated, and I'm seeing where this is trending. If I slow down and stop trying to react in the moment to things that's not even true and don't apply to me, now you're not going to get the same reaction and rise out of me. I know the truth. I know what I said, and I know what you're stating in the moment didn't happen or isn't true. So why am I reacting as if it is? It isn't. So it takes practice, but what I'm basically suggesting is remaining stoic, still being present. You're now more mindful of what's happening in the course of the conversation. And now you realize she's no longer reacting to this conversation. She's reacting to the thing that was said that's making her feel some type of way. She's now reacting to the idea that she did something wrong. She's now reacting to the idea that she now thinks that she's not a good girlfriend, not a good wife, not a good partner, not a good mother. She's now reacting from a level of defensiveness that I'm not doing or saying anything to warrant this level of reaction. Why am I going to match her energy? So matching her energy, trying to go full speed ahead and not slowing down and realizing what's happening in real time, and stop reacting to it as if every single thing she says in her anger in the moment is true. It gives you time to slow down, pause. There's been instances where it's starting to get to that point, and I would say, you know what? It seems like right now, even if I'm calm, I now use the word we. And that's the piece. Like, if you did all these other things, but you missed this part, and you say, you know what? You're getting a little too riled up. You effed up. Instead, you say, you know what? Right now, I think we're a little we're getting a little too emotional. Just use the we language. Describe whatever's happening in the moment. You know, I think we're starting to take this a little too personal. I think that we're clearly getting a little frustrated. We're getting a little angry. Everything is we. Now she doesn't hear me. You. So you're joining her in the elevated state with hopes of bringing it down. Those pieces, if you're dealing with a fairly decent human being on the other side, they will slow it down. They'll take you up on your offer, maybe come back in 5, 10, 15 minutes later, and then we can try it again. Now, when she's calmer, and you say, hey, I noticed when I said this, you said that I said that. Or I noticed when I mentioned this part, you claimed that I did this. What was up with that? Like, why did you accuse me of that? Or why did you feel like when I said this, you took it that way? Like, now you're coming from a place of being interested. Like, you're not even, it doesn't even almost come off like accusatory. It almost comes off like curious. And now as she's explaining it, now she's explaining how her emotional thought pattern got her there. And believe it or not, a lot of times when they're now calmer and they're explaining it, they say, you know what, that wasn't fair. You're right. I took it the wrong direction. When you said this is what came to mind for me. Half the time what they're reacting to in the moment isn't about what's happening in the moment. So those are things that I think that could, I don't know, man. I just think it could be more helpful.
No, that was helpful. And I feel bad because I want to add something to that. I'm going to read these comments, but I'm going to definitely add to it.
Yeah.
Let's catch up on some of the comments people were saying.
Mm-hmm.
Plum Drop Podcast. This, by the way, they came.
Oh, yeah. That's my homie.
Yeah, she said, yes, initially we will most likely be very defensive and emotional. However, we as women should be willing to look at what is being asked for us. Just step back and reflect. Mm-hmm. Why is he asking you this? Yeah, that's a good point. And it's funny, mm-hmm. and I want to say this, and I want you to respond to it afterwards. But mm-hmm. shockingly, what you said, what I should have done was at some point say the we stuff. She did that, and she was like, oh, we both do this, and I'm like, she's like, we're both doing this. I'm like, I'm not doing that. You're
mm-hmm.
doing that.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of completely deflected her saying that. So I kind of makes it feel even worse now. You showed me things, but she was trying to reel it back.
Man, you better go fix that.
I blocked her. So yeah, it was the shock. I thought I was so right. I just blocked her, bro. I just literally, I feel bad about it. And she's a smart girl. She's a lawyer. And someone told me lawyer.
Oh, you was arguing with a lawyer too? You wasn't going to win that. What's wrong with you?
I know, bro. I know. Okay. Clearly I got an ego, right? Clearly I got an ego. Hez says black women is willing to walk around with their trauma.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think we all, I don't know what to say about that. What do you think about that? Do we walk around with trauma?
Well, I wouldn't say it's as much black women specifically as much as a lot of people are. And the thing is that the way in which they express it may come off as more aggressive. Whereas a lot of other populations that may walk around with their trauma, their way of manifesting trauma may be avoidance. It may be constantly anxious. It may be hypersexuality is actually something that could be a trauma response. So there's a whole host of different ways. It's just that the stereotype is that, well, they got all this trauma and they always angry. And the reality is like, all right, man, there is a lot of trauma. There is a lot of things that have happened to people when they were younger or older, especially when they're older, because of decisions and situations they put themselves in sometimes. My view and lens is when, as a man, all those steps I just listed for you, regardless of whether she's right or wrong, in the moment, as the leader, you're trying to model something so that if you practice and do it enough times in conversations, she's going to get to that point a lot sooner. And sometimes she won't need you to do it. But if you never model it, you always matching her energy. That's how y'all get stuck in those toxic cycles. So she could have had the trauma. They could have had the trauma in their past. But if I'm constantly showing you that this is a safe space for you, and I'm also establishing appropriate, healthy boundaries to show you what healthy communication looks like. If she's going to stick around, there's a strong possibility she's going to start to learn this new skill set of communication with you. But if you never model it, if you always match her energy, why would somebody who's gone through something significant, whether it was a heartbreak, trauma, abandonment, etc., when would they learn how to do that, how to handle that well with you if you never model it as the leader of the relationship? Remember, if you're not leading, her emotions are leading the relationship. Those are the only two options. Either you're leading or her emotions are leading. So just to clarify, that situation with you and homegirl, guess who was actually leading that situation? Her. Her emotions did.
Following.
Well, yeah, because her emotions led to you not wanting to deal with her no more.
And you don't think that should be that's not a you don't think that should be a thing? Like, I don't know.
What? But hold on, being led by emotions in a relationship?
Meaning that, like, so I guess the point I presented to you wasn't a justifiable reason to block her. I'm not gonna call her back anyway. I moved on. It happened a few months ago, but I did think to myself, like, damn, we had a good time until we started arguing. Everything was like fun up to that point.
Nah, I'm just saying that, like, that skill set was something you both actually struggled with. It just looked different in terms of how it was expressed. And if she was a dope person and conflict was the one area that y'all two didn't figure out, if you're dope in every other area and we learn how to talk to each other a little bit better, might be the person of your dreams.
I think I'm telling you, man, that's your big, I think, and I'm biased because I feel like that's where you can help me out the most. I just feel like that's where a lot of people were like this with women. Cause it's we're not getting through to each other whatsoever.
Yeah.
Let me read this comment too. Shout out to Anesia, New York. Is this someone you know? $9. I appreciate the super chat for $9. It says, it's a whole freaking crime there isn't a larger viewer turnout for this message. I pray you stick around long enough to make impact on society more than and Godfather Kevin Samuels. I think he will. I think we actually have I think we got an important person on the podcast right now, and we're rooting for him. The thing that he has as an advantage is he knows how to talk to people. Kevin Samuels, it's kind of sad when he died, people were happy. That's like, you don't want to die that way. You know what I'm saying? Like, even me, I'm thinking to myself, like, damn, I do such controversial conflict. I would hate the people celebrating my death, even though I'm not going to be around to, like, witness it, you know what I'm saying? But it would suck to know, right? Like, you're looking down from heaven, you're like, damn, these people are happy. Like, I'm gone, So, I mean, what's your quick thoughts on that? Like, that people are celebrating his death, What's your thoughts on that?
I think it speaks volumes about the hearts and the souls of those that did. I also think that it was particularly individuals who thought that they didn't need to improve on things. I see them as what we call something along the lines of externalizers. These are individuals who, if there's an issue in their life, their go-to is not to look inward. Their go-to is to point outward. So when he's pointing out things and he was talking to men and women, but when he's pointing out things to women about choices they've made, decisions, behaviors, whether it's what they eat, what they say, what they put on their bodies, with the men they've left, and so forth and so on, they didn't like hearing about things that they knew they had a choice on and things that they could improve on that they chose not to. So it was easier and felt better to see somebody die than to self-improve. Crazy.
Wild. I know you don't want to go out that way, so we room for you, man. We hope you live a long time, and when you have your time to pass, that people would be rejoicing in the sense that you were a great benefactor to the community. Anisha says, no way, only 40 people listening to this live. Don't worry about the live now. We're gonna chop this up. We're gonna clip farm. You know what I'm saying? My man.
So we're gonna share it everywhere. I'm excited.
The community not serious. There should be 40 million black folks trying to listen to this. They will be. And you know what? Like sometimes, like I tell people all the time, live streaming is its own beast. My channel just celebrated 3 million views. We just passed 3 million views, right? And like 2 million of those views came this year. You know what I'm saying?
Congrats, man. Congrats.
Thank you. I appreciate it. So sometimes, you know, YouTube, you either a live streamer, I do videos on demand. So you get it where you fit in. Hezza says, protecting their past by holding others to they shame, but women haven't been caught and shamed yet. Yeah, I don't know about that. Another thing he said really quickly, when black women were not truly following the Most High, and they thinking they were doing right, but they were worshiping satanic stuff and didn't know. It's naive. Yeah, you know, it's funny. So even now with this, as we're having this conversation with Jeff, I'm thinking to myself, it's like, it is kind of the easy route to just blame all women. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying that they're not contributing to it, but just in that one example of my experience, how I could have reframed it and looked at it like, I should not be offended by something that's clearly not true. Like, why am I offended by a lie, right? The lie has to be offended by the truth. The truth doesn't have to be offended by the lie. So you're right. Why am I? Yeah, it's you know, it should be nothing. But I think in that respect, I thought that I took it personal. I made a slew of mistakes that if I look back at it, I could have corrected it if I was a better leader. So hopefully in this podcast, we could like learn as individuals how to be better. I'm all about improving. I'm selfish. So I want to be a better. You know what I'm saying? Screw that.
Man, you listen. I'm about to say you might send this clip over to homegirl.
I'm better now, right? I went to therapy. I'm with the therapy. That's awesome. All right, so Shape would argue with a lawyer. Yeah. So I guess we should move on. Another thing I want to talk about was, all right, so now we're gonna stick it to women. All right. I'm sorry. Part of the issues we do have is women and how they value themselves on a sexual marketplace. I do feel like, you know, we all have our little ways. You know, me being argumentative, I guess you could say, is something that I have to work on. And so I'm going to admit to that, right? But I do think women have things to work on too in general, right? So my question for you is, who and what determines a woman's sexual market value?
Well, the market, first of all, and it's not other women, and it's not they themselves. You can quote unquote determine your own value when you plan on dating yourself. Right. So we got to nix that all together. If you plan on staying alone, then you can rate yourself a 10 out of 10 and cool. But if you're actually planning on doing life with someone else, you actually have to factor in what someone else wants. So when it comes to being a woman who's heterosexual and wants to date men, you have to factor in what the largest pool or percentage of, and generally speaking, what most men are attracted to, want, and say that they want. So if you're not getting the outcomes that you want from men, the externalizer looks outward and points outward and says the problem is the men. The one who's looking more inward, who has a locus of control that looks inward at what's happening in her life and why she's not getting the outcomes that she wants, he's going to be more reflective over things that she may need to change. And there's key areas that I listed in my last episode when I was talking to women, when I said, no, you don't deserve a good man. Your mind, your mouth, your body, your femininity, social influences, and the past. These are all things that men value and look into and pay attention to some degree. And the more in demand a guy is, the more popular he is, the more women want him, the more those things matter. He's going to want to know how you think, because he wants to know who the mother of his child, what she's going to teach his children, what she's going to put before his children. He's going to be monitoring and observing what comes out your mouth and what you say, who you praise, who you idolize, how you speak highly of, and who you don't. He's going to pay attention to your body. So that's obvious, right? But he's also going to be interested in terms of how you treat that body, how you display that body, how many people you give access to that body, and in what ways, both in person and digitally. Femininity goes without saying. And social influences, that's a big one for me, because that's a reflection of what's the loudest, most important voice in your world when you're dealing with that man. Is it social media? Is it Cardi B? Is it what Meg Thee Stallion got to say? Is it Tracy Ellis Ross? Is it the feminists? Is it social media? Is it reality TV, or is it the man that you say you want to be led by? Whose voice matters the most? And then lastly, the past. And there's varying degrees on what we mean by judgment of the past. Today, in modern America, almost no man is expecting to get a virgin. That ship sail, right? But that doesn't mean that he wants to be with the woman who's been with the whole football team either. So the reality is like, to some degree, the decisions that and for whatever reason, meaning ladies, a lot of them have been convinced that the past is something you can just treat with an eraser and then it no longer exists. Whereas men see the past as a potential reflection of what you're capable of when put into the right or wrong circumstances. That's all that means. And in the same way they can judge us with our future, if they had a crystal ball and you was told as a woman that the guy that's trying to pursue you or the guy that's trying to date you is going to be broke and homeless a year from now, would you still go out with him?
Probably not, yeah.
Probably not. So you're judging him off of a future he hasn't even experienced or done yet. And he's judging you off of what you've actually done in the past.
And they say it's wrong. They say don't do that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So the reality is when I use those type of examples, the women that are reasonable will be like, damn, I didn't realize, like, if I'm judging him off of something he hasn't even done yet, it's only fair that he can look at what I've actually done in my life. Yeah, that's how that works. And the beauty of it is it doesn't actually matter what women say about the things that we're judging them off of. We're going to do it regardless of how they feel anyway. And how do they know that? Look at your outcomes. Do you have 5 men that's trying to marry you today? If not, then it may be, if you don't have 2 men that's trying to marry you right now, then maybe you aren't what you think you are in the dating market yet.
I want to hold you there because I don't think it's a matter of the amount of men when it comes to women. I think for men, it matters the amount. But for women, it's like if you don't have the men that you would actually consider marrying.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Like if you don't have a man that you're like, you know, wow, like if I go with either of these guys, I'll be well off.
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Because
yeah.
women have options down the road. I was watching how I'm just gonna state this. I'm gonna ask my next question. I was watching your conversation with Pearl, and she's talking about how she knew women on Hinge, obese women on Hinge who had 5,000 matches. You know what I'm saying? So that you can't conflate that to be, or that can be a representation of your value. You know
it's definitely, if we go into it more, it's not just men by default just because a body's a body. Like you said, it also includes the actual man that you want, and that's rare. That's rare. For you to have 3, 5, 10 men that you also want to be with pursuing you seriously. That's very rare for them, and they know it. So when you don't even have that, then that's more of, unfortunately, an accurate reflection of the areas I listed. Maybe you're not leveling up in some of those areas like you should.
Yeah, I want to address this because so on my channel, 60% of my audience is 40 and up. Like I got more people above 65 that watch my content than I do from 18 to 25.
Really? Interesting.
Yeah. So, which I know I'm doing something right because, you know, one of the hardest markets of people to get to are older men, right? So 90% of it is men and 60% of them are older than me. You know what I'm saying? And I'm 37. So, you know, I'm pretty old myself. I'm just saying. But so my thoughts are this though, because people look at me and say, they look at me and they think I'm a failure because I'm 37, never been married. I don't have any kids, right? But I feel like as a man, this is like the perfect place to be. You know what I'm saying? But so, and because I see me condemn women who are my age that have the same outcomes and maybe even more successful, more famous than me. 2 things. 1, should women really be delaying having kids? And 2, if you're a woman over the age of 35 and you don't have kids, you've never been married, should you adjust your standards? Because I've realized that the first question I ask you, what determines a woman's value? A lot of women who, the more money they earn, the more money they want a man to earn. And the reason why I think that's an issue is because now a certain amount of money doesn't look like good money anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Like $50,000, which seems like a little bit of money to a person making $100,000.
Mm-hmm.
It's still a good income because you're still above the norm, right?
Yeah.
The average man makes less than $50,000 a year annually, right? So I say that to say, what should women who are high earners and above the age of 35, what should they look for money in a man, or what should they look for in a man? And are their sense of value inflated and shouldn't be so high?
I'll work my way backwards with the questions that you asked. Yeah, they do associate and equalize whatever it is that they're quote unquote bringing to the table financially, and then projecting that onto the men that they think would also want them that make that type of money. Unfortunately, for whatever, I don't know how many times we have to try to beat it into their heads. Our money isn't equal. Our money doesn't mean the same thing. No man worth his salt is walking around saying, I was going to date you, but only 60,000. You know what? I would ask you out if he was making 80,000. That sounds crazy, right? That's how y'all talk. That's not how we talk.
Right.
The things that I listed, your mind, your mouth, your body, your femininity, the level of social influences, as well as your past. That's what we're judging you off of. So, and number two, you know that it's true because if these women that were in relationships and living with men lose their jobs, they don't have a clock above their heads if they don't get a job in 90 days. We do. So we don't judge you by the same things. And then number two, the women who talk that way and act that way, they don't know that when we hear that and know that, what they're communicating is, okay, so if I'm an average guy, or if I'm a guy that's not making that money, I'm not good enough. And then when I do make the money, now you want me, which means you don't want me. What you're telling me is what your community. I don't think that they realize what they're telling on themselves when they do this. You're telling the guy that finally makes that much money that he wouldn't be good enough 2 years ago when he didn't. So whether you realize it or not, you're telling the men that do make that, I wouldn't want to be with you if you didn't. So F your heart, F your emotions, F your love, F your commitment, F how romantic you were going to be. You are instantly disqualified. So even if you made it now, but if you weren't making it 2 years ago, you wouldn't be good enough for me. That's what you're telling him. If we know that, okay. So when I've dealt with chicks in the past, when I was making less, when I wasn't as confident, when I wasn't as sure and I was more thirsty, right? And I'm doing all this work and things don't work out. Or they just never give me a real chance or opportunity. Cool. I gotta eat that, I gotta live it, fine. But when I finally do make the money and now you want me, how do you actually think I'm gonna see you? They don't think like that. And they don't realize that a lot of the men that make that money, they're thinking that. So if he's going to accept you, how do you think he's going to view you? Right? So that's the thing, is like they can keep doing that. That's their choice. That's their right. My view and lens is they're allowed to have whatever standard they want. I don't know. I don't think a lot of them are going to get it. If you're pretty, you can stretch it out longer than the average woman. But if you want kids and he wants kids, it's not going to matter what you want once you clear a certain age point, period. Because Father Time and Mother Nature are excellent twins. And when they jump you, they're going to win every time.
Every time.
Every time.
Yeah, I think it's funny because we have an issue with simps, right? Simps are a huge issue. And I don't think there's any way to eradicate them, because we have to accept that there's some men that they have to find ways to deal with the lack of women in their lives, right? And I don't know what that's like. I never had to simp for women. I'm someone that's been chased by women my entire life. I've had it good my entire life. And so when I talk to a woman and she wants a man to be a certain thing and she's holding out till she finds him, I like to tell them all the time, like, you're trying to find him. You're trying to figure out where these men are. I'm surrounded by girls. I'm surrounded by 10, 12 girls, and I would date any of them. I'm talking to multiple women, and I would date any of them. I would be seen in public with any of them. Yeah, I'd marry any of them just from the looks standpoint. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, it's a different thing. You know what I'm saying? If you're a woman and you're earning a lot of money and you're waiting around for a rich guy and you're about to be 40, you're pricing yourself out the market. Because if he can date you, why would he not just date somebody younger?
Hey, let him.
You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. That's just alternative. Some of these super chats.
Yeah.
Bugs React. Shout out to me, brother.
Hey.
I seen him in the queue, and I'm gonna do, if you are open to it, I wanted to ask you first. Some people want to come up and talk to you.
Bring them in. Bring them in.
Open to, yeah, okay. I wanted to make sure I didn't surprise you with that. So shout out to Bugs React. I'm gonna put you back in the queue. We're gonna give it figure out a time for that. But he said, shout out to you both, Shape and the Black Therapist. His name is Jeff St. James. Put some respect on his name. He said, killing the game. Women celebrated Kevin's death, not men. Those same women still single with extra kids down. Extra kids, right? Extra kids. Anesthesia New York says, so happy to be here. We're happy to have you. Shout out to you. Plum Drop Podcast said, that's crazy. They're in the same place, if not worse. When he tried to tell him. Yeah, absolutely. Shout out to Anesthesia again with another donation. Says with the $20. Appreciate you. Appreciate that. Says my female colleagues are married to the money. They won't get out of bed for less than $300 an hour for doing anesthesia work. So extrapolate that. What can date that woman, or who can date that woman? I guess asking for all my female colleagues. Let's just try to answer.
I'll answer it.
Yeah,
I'll answer it. We don't care. So just to clarify, you having a bachelor's degree or a master's degree or a doctorate degree or an associate's degree or some certification isn't like, now you know what? You had that bachelor's, but if you had that master's, that would so turn me on. Like, y'all sound crazy when you take women's brains and try to put it inside of men. I don't know how many times we got to tell you, my wife is a doctor. I'm with her because she's smart, very smart. And I want my children to be very smart. But whether or not she had a doctorate wasn't why I was attracted to her. Okay? Now, just to clarify, she's a doctor and she believes I'm very smart. Now, if she held me to the standard you all are saying, I wouldn't have been good enough for her. Her perspective is I'm one of the smartest people she's ever encountered with no doctorate, right? So the vantage point is like, and this comes from solipsism, the inability to be able to see things from other perspectives. Women, when it comes to relationships and dating and what they want, not all, but many, if you have very, very quote unquote high, potentially unrealistic standards, it's highly likely it's because you're only looking at things through the lens of what you can get out of it. You're not factoring in your age. You're not factoring in your weight. You're not factoring in the children that you have. You're not factoring in the trauma and situations you put yourself in with the countless men that you tried to do this dance called life with. So when you don't think about what men are getting out of it and what they're going to get as a consequence of your past choices, you don't even realize how you're seen as an expense and potential liability with the student loan debt and mortgage that you accumulated because of your decisions. So the reality is, if you can't fix your brain to start realizing that men actually have expectations and standards, and the men that you want have those and they're higher, you're going to wake up one day and be many of the women that were on the magazines and on all the Hollywood, and now they're the women that's talking about and saying what they regret now with the men that they had. The reality is, we don't look at and judge all the same. Our attraction, I'm gonna say it again, man, our attractions are asymmetrical. You want us taller than you. We want you shorter than us. Yeah. You want us stronger than you. We don't want no woman that's stronger than us. You want us making a certain amount of money. We don't care about your money. How many times do we got to tell y'all? Very few things we actually align with. You being a anesthesiologist is great for your career. That's awesome. But I'm not hiring you for that. Right? Why are you giving me a CV or resume that has all this irrelevant job experience on it? You're trying to get hired as a lawyer and you got only experience listed of when you worked at Chuck E. Cheese.
Yeah.
That's what y'all communicating to us. And when they lead with their degrees, when they lead with their money, what that's communicating to me is you've never thought about what men actually care about and value and want.
I think women don't think they have to listen to us because I think they know what we want. They think we're just horny men. That's it. Like, oh, if I could get him aroused, I got him. Mm-hmm. Right. So there's like age doesn't matter. Like, I'm attractive. He's going to be aroused around me. Like, that's all that matters. Mm-hmm. So they want to make sure they optimize for their bedroom performance. Okay. That's what I've realized. A lot of women there's no shortage of that happening right now in America. I'm
gonna be honest with you.
That's to the moon. You know what I'm saying? Listen, but that's not the most impressive thing for me.
What's crazy is I'm gonna be honest with you. They don't even maintain that. All right. What's the complaints from these hundreds of millions of men would say they get comfortable once they get in relationships or they get the ring? Mm. So the one thing you think men do care about, you don't even stay on top of that.
Mm. Literally. No pun intended.
Complain about knees and ankles and stuff. Girl, get up there. Like, you know what I'm saying? Come on now.
Get back on the horse.
Yeah.
No, I think it's funny because and I guess I shouldn't talk about my private life. I just came back from Africa and I went to a wedding and I met all types of people. My cousin, he's a doctor. He married a doctor. Nice. So that was kind of interesting. So we had other people of that kind of esteem in there, you know, and I'm a content creator, you know, I got a following, whatever. So I kind of felt right at home, you know what I'm saying, with all these people rubbing elbows and shit. But I've realized I met two women who one was a doctor, one was a lawyer, and attractive women. Mm-hmm. Attractive women. I'm not going to lie. They were attractive women, but they refused to tell me their age. Mm. And in my mind, I thought to myself, like, in what world could you date a man and hide your age? You know what I'm saying? Like, you kind of revealed it, right? You have to be north of 40. That's what my thoughts are. Like, oh, you don't tell me your age?
Or pretty much there, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Or just right on the cusp of it, right? Mm-hmm. But in my mind, what they're also saying was, my age doesn't matter. I could get you without you knowing my age. Like, you don't need to know it. You would still want me anyway because, again, I can perform in the bedroom. I make all this money. Like, look over here. Don't look over here. Look over here, type of thing. You know.
But but I think they're communicating to you that age does matter because they won't tell you. If they really thought it didn't matter, they would have told you. Mm. So they're actually communicating the opposite to me.
Yeah, it's kind of a weird. So it's illogical, right? So it's like I remember you're telling me to like that, like, you know, about like logic courses and stuff. So I started studying logic, and you know about this is something that I'm 37 years old and I just discovered the 3 laws of logic. Have you came across this?
I have. I don't remember them off the top of my head, but whenever someone goes against them, it's pretty easy to recognize.
Yeah. So one of the things was one of the laws is the law of there's the law of identity, right? There's a law of non-contradiction, and the last law is the law of excluded middle, right? I think that's it, right? So women love this gray area, and that's why I thought that logic was interesting. The excluded middle, saying that there's no gray areas, either this or that, right? So it's like the law of identity says A is A. The law of non-contradiction says A is not non-A, and the law of excluded middle says it's either A or non-A. It can't be both of them.
Correct.
But women make this false logic where they feel like their age is not important, but then they hide it. That's why it's a logical fallacy, right? Because it broke by that law right there, where it's like, you're right, they're hiding it, but they're also assuming at the same point that it doesn't matter. And there's a conflict there logically, right? There's a conflict with being both of those things at the same time, you know? So I do agree with you, but I do also think that
basically their actions. Yeah. Their actions are saying that it matters.
But part of their actions is not lowering their standards, though. And so if it does matter, these women, I talk to them, they're doctor lawyers, they don't want to date a man that makes less than $200,000 a year.
Okay.
So to me, like they feel like no matter what age they are, they can qualify for that. Clearly, right?
Okay.
Like to me,
You know what? You know what it is when we've gone through about 6-7 years of social media of hearing about all of this delusion and all these women saying these things. Outside of me speaking directly to them, I let them. Because remember, if I don't qualify in their eyes, even though they probably wouldn't qualify for me, what am I going to convince her that I'm the guy? What am I going to convince her she needs to look at me differently? Why would you want a woman that already made it known from the beginning that she doesn't want you and doesn't think you meet her standards? Why? Who wants to fight for that type of love and affection versus a woman that starts off liking you? So no. So when you hear that, when I hear it, I actually feel bad for them. I feel bad, especially when they're aging, when they get into that point when they're in at risk geriatric pregnancy territory. All right, I was like, oh, okay, cool. It is what it is, and for me, they not knowing what I make, not knowing what I do, and not knowing where I'm heading. Once you reveal that's what's in your heart and how you see men, I'm saying, of course, you should have a standard. But when you start getting to these ridiculous 0.01% of men foolishness standards, and even less percent when you only whittle it down to just black men, and you're talking that way, and you don't look like women that are in Hollywood, or even if you do, but you're 42. All right, if you want to, that's fine. I just know that the guys, 99% of the guys who make that, they're going to pick the younger alternative that can give them kids if they don't have any, if they want them. And then number two, even if you don't want any kids, if she looks just like you, but she's younger, why would he, like, it doesn't, like, they just don't see things through the male lens. And that's why they end up in those situations. So for me, I allow Father Time and Mother Nature to talk to them. They're going to have a conversation. Why would I waste the words? Because that lesson going to be real hard. And it's going to be super clear. And when we get to that point of 2030, 2035, 2040, I think a lot of them are going to get to the place where they're going to be approaching women, asking them if the men that they're with, or if these ladies would be open to sharing their husbands and men. They're going to come straight out with it and ask. I'm telling you. I'm putting money on it. The women that think that they're too good for men now, we ain't gonna do the whole behind the side joint or being a little, because they're not gonna want to go the next 30 years being the woman that was in her career was a success, but relationally was a failure. They're not all gonna do it. They're not all gonna do it. And that pride, that all that, what the group gonna think, what everybody gonna think. Listen, that's gonna go out the window when you kept by a guy that everybody else want, and you're number two. What's the saying? It's better to be a king's concubine than a peasant's wife. They're gonna do that. They're gonna do it. I know, like, so I'm telling you, it's coming.
You know, I'm happy about that because I feel like I'm going to be one of the kings, you know. But, so I mean, I'll be honest with you. We talked about it.
Honestly, like, you probably will. If you wait it out, they probably will.
My audience sometimes hates me when I talk about money because, like, I tell them, like, bro, I look at myself as going to be a clean millionaire, you know. Like, I have millionaire friends, you know, and they look at me like I'm going to be one of their peers too, you know. So it's not just. I want to address this idea that women wage discriminate, but they should know that men age discriminate. And for some reason that never connects. And I think our age discrimination actually has practical use and it's pragmatic. Their wage discrimination actually has it's vanity.
Yeah,
it's making a bunch of money. You don't need me to make a bunch of money. If you can take care of yourself, you don't need a man. Why do you want me to make more to possibly take care of you when you take care of yourself and you already like your lifestyle? Like, you want to work, not like you don't want to work. Oh my God, I don't want to work my job that pays me $200K a year. You want to work that job. You like the autonomy it gives you, but you want me to make money just in case you feel like one day.
Bro, I'm gonna say something controversial. I don't think most of them want to work like that after about 5 to 10 years. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't think First of all, I don't like to work all the time. Like I will do it and I make myself do it and I'm going to do it. And it's my duty and it's my right to do it. But like, you really think all of them want to work 30, 40 years? No. You know what they actually want? All of them don't want to stay home forever. All of them don't want to work. What majority of them want is to be work optional. They want work to be optional. They want to work when they want to work. This season I'm working. This season I'm not working. I'm going to work part-time. I'm going to work when I feel like it. They actually want work to be, they want a man who is able to afford a lifestyle where work and being able to do things outside of cooking and cleaning is optional. That's what the overwhelm. I didn't have to ask women to know that. I work with them. I listen to them. I see how they talk about work. I see what they're willing and not willing to do. I see what it does to them. I see how it changes them in regards to how they show up in relationships with men. I see what it does and the impacts and interferes with their ability to be a good mother, good wife, and good partner. They don't want to work like that. They may start that way when they're young, they excited, they 22 years old, they 24 years old, they 30 years old. Right around 30 to 33, Dr. Jordan Peterson talked about it. Survey after survey. They don't want to work another 30 years. They don't. And to be fair, I don't even know if a lot of men want to work down to the bone crazy enough that men want to work enough to make enough to be able to enjoy their life. No, who wants to work for 40 years? And I'm telling you, they definitely don't.
It's a weird thing because if it had to be one gender that wanted to work more than the other, it has to be the male gender.
Oh, yeah. It's definitely that. Like I'll definitely do it.
My dad bought a brand new house. He got divorced and he bought a brand new house, paid it off. But he still makes great money. And I asked him, he's like 66. I'm like, when are you gonna like retire? He's like, in his mind, he's like, I get to travel as much as I want to. Like he's going to Japan this year. He's going to our country. We're Trinity. He's going to Trinidad this year. We just came back from Africa. He's going on a cruise. He's like, nothing stops me from living the life I want. And he loves what he does. He's a computer scientist.
Yeah. He loves what he does. Listen, what he does matters. And if he was doing construction,
yeah, that'd be different. Yeah.
Right. If he was doing manual labor related jobs, he probably would feel different. Right. He's doing something that he likes and enjoys. Are there women that legitimately like to work? Yeah, I've met them. I know them. I'm related to some of them. They are not as common as people trying to make it normalize it to be. Majority of these women want kids. They want to be with their kids and they want to be able to go in and out of the workforce without being homeless. That's the truth. And they want the ability for work to just be optional.
Okay, I accept that. I want to talk about your life, and I want to talk about the fact that you met your wife on a dating app. I thought that was fascinating. I mean, you also talked about your famous dating app story, and I thought that was interesting too. So let's kind of head in that direction if that's cool with you.
Cool.
All right. So first of all, your dating app story sounds wild to me, especially for me. I had a lot of dating app success, right? Like, so I did a video on how I had like 500 matches on Hinge and no one believed me. I just mentioned it in the video. So I had to show proof and I showed proof and they still didn't believe me, even after I showed proof. But that wasn't in one shot, right? This is like, I showed them my Hinge after like a couple months or whatever. But you have a story where you hopped on a plane. You went from one city to another city. You had your dating app on like roaming or something like that.
Yeah.
You woke up in one city with like 80 matches or something like that. Can you tell that story really quickly to the audience?
Yeah, y'all. So back in 2020, I believe it was like January at that time, I had to go see my cousin in Chicago for her birthday. And I had a layover in Atlanta. So when I left the Philly airport, flew from the Philly airport and landed in Atlanta, I was in the airport for 2 hours and turned my phone on, was checking other stuff. And I didn't realize that the app naturally is tracking my location. And I didn't even check the app. And so I got back on the plane, 2 hour layover, landed in Chicago, got off the plane, grabbed my bag and walked and sat in my cousin's car. As we're heading back to her place, I clicked on the app and I had about 72 to 74 women. And they were all black because it was a BLK app. And so just to clarify, it was 2 hours, 2.5 hours. And it was a little over 70 women that had initiated contact with me. Now, to be fair, I do think that data is skewed when you're going from Atlanta and Chicago. I don't know if I went to Wisconsin, I was gonna get 70 matches in 2 hours. You know, so but just to clarify, like that's what it is for some men who their aesthetic, how they present themselves on social on these dating apps, and also what they say that they do. If you factor in those three things, you're probably going to have a very skewed experience than maybe the other men.
I'm listening. I'm listening.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't want to call. So, all right, couple of things I think about, you know, because you didn't meet your wife on BLK. You met her on Bumble, I believe.
Bumble.
Okay. If you're a man that's getting 70 matches, what made you decide to go to one match?
Well, one, I think that we take for granted that, setting aside the 70 women who I didn't even end up talking to,
right?
Of the women who I was going on dates with up until when I met her, I was dating 3 doctors simultaneously. She just happened to be, and she was the third one who I met.
Whoa. I think this is the first time I heard this. Have you said this on other platforms?
No.
Oh, wow. We got content. We got the content. All right, go ahead.
No. So there were 3 different doctors. One was a doctoral student. She was in the process of finishing her degree. And it's just how it happened. It wasn't like, oh, I only date doctors. It just so happened that the ones who I was interested in just happened to be having them or working towards it. And what I realized even prior to those 3 ladies, that 1.5-year run where I was back on the dating market and I was going out with different women, I was coming back into a dating market where the level of entitlement was way, way different than I had recalled in my early 20s and teens. Way different. The attitude, the entitlement, the expectations, the seeking validation of wanting all this extra effort to just get a response. I'm like, yo, what's going on with some of the women out here? Like, this is a little crazy. And this was at the same time period where I was starting to fill out, starting to make some major jumps every year financially, moving up in my career. And as I was doing that, I was starting to feel differently about how much I felt I needed to really try and do. So it went from, I'm getting better, I'm dressing better, I'm feeling more confident, I'm making more money, and I'm seeing, and now I'm feeling less patient and less tolerant with bad behavior in women. And now I'm no longer feeling obligated to reward them. And just to clarify, Anesthesia, New York, I'm not 6'2". I'm 6 feet personally. But the point I was making was that
it's still tall though, bro.
Yeah.
Hey, look,
yeah.
I don't got the
just to clarify, I continued growing in my 20s. When I was 18 to 20-ish, I was like 5'10". So I still was growing in college. And when I first graduated college, I probably weighed like 120 pounds. What? So yeah, I was thin. I was taller, but I was thin.
What are you now? No,
I fluctuate between like 150 something, 160. I fluctuate.
You're slim, bro.
Yeah.
We're gonna hit the gym. We're gonna hit the gym.
Yeah.
We're gonna hit the gym. All right.
Yeah, so the point I'm making is that my max, I think I was like 175 when college at one point. Like I was solid because I'm a thin dude. You said what?
You like 175 or not? Or you like to keep it up?
It's so hard to maintain that weight for me because my natural weight is about 155.
You're a slim guy.
So for me, so 165 is a good solid spot for me. When I'm creeping up to 175-ish, creeping up there, that means I'm doing and eating so much. Like it's too much to maintain. I just want to be at a space where I'm strong, I can move, I'm agile. And now that I'm at a place and point where it's like, I got what I need to have. So, I'm straight. So back to this whole thing with me and my wife, in the era of female entitlement and women still operating, the women you're talking about, I'm dealing with, very beautiful, but very arrogant, having all these men in their DMs and pursuing them. They're not seeing a guy that's growing and truly wants to build something. They're seeing me as one of many guys. So when I met her, the first question she asked, so, you dating other people? Are you going out? And I said, yeah, I'm dating a few other people. And she said, well, hopefully, as we continue, meeting with each other, you won't feel the need to continue doing that.
Ooh.
Right. So when you go from first date, they telling you about what bags they want, where they want to go. You got to text them 3 times. They canceling and keep rescheduling. When you going through all of that, so you get to a woman that makes it very clear that she is interested and that she hopes that she stands out in comparison to the other women that you are dealing with. It made that so much clearer. And so now I have to look at it through the lens of, am I ready for being able to integrate her into my world? That was the only difference. So at that point, that was a big shift for me, because it was like when you come back out in the dating market and there's women that's just lying and manipulating and trying to use you for different things, and they playing games, and they got all these other guys and then you got somebody that's like, oh, well, I hope I kind of stand out and you won't feel the need to keep doing that. It changes in America. Like, yeah, like that was refreshing to hear. And yet she had a college degree. Yet she was making her own money. Yet she was doing pretty well. And that didn't change her perception of seeing the value in me. So I was like, okay, so they do exist. Women who do make money or do well educationally in their career, but still see the value in men. So that's how I honestly took that approach, and I'm applying it to podcasting, where I don't just assume because she makes decent money or is doing things on her own that she's going to have an attitude or say, you got to make this much. Yeah, she's going to have some expectations. It's reasonable to have something. And I'm not thinking she's going to only expect me to make $20,000, but at the same time, it wasn't a competition. It was, she still saw the meaning and value of what I could be in a life together. So that was kind of what stood out for me, honestly.
Yeah, you know what? And your wife's a beautiful woman. I seen a picture of her on your. So congrats to you guys. And I know you guys just celebrated a birth or maybe 1 year of your child.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. Congrats to you.
Appreciate it.
Lucky man. Okay. I think it's harder when you don't feel like women play as much games. Like, I don't feel the game playing. I want to be you. Like, I want to be the family man with one girl, but I just get too much easy access. So it's harder for me. It's like, bro, like if I wanted to have a rotation of like 15 girls, I could do it. I just don't have the energy to just be going on 40 first dates all the time.
Yeah, that's what I was doing at one point, man. I was my coworkers would make fun of me because every week it was like 4 different women I was going out with between Friday and Saturday. And it was too much money. It was too much a waste of time. And once I met her, it kind of that quickly fizzled out because I was like, this is a lot of this other stuff just seems it feels pointless now.
It kind of segues into my next question. How does she feel about this type of content? Because, well, and you kind of alluded to, she kind of understands men better. So maybe she has her dad in her life or some influential men in her life, but how does she view this male space, the manosphere, and the fact that you want to enter it? Most women, they don't even want to date a man that's in a red pill podcast, right? Like they call it podcast bros. So how do you feel your wife feels like you want to enter into a market that most women don't even want to date a man in?
Well, yeah. It makes a logical sense in my head. I wouldn't be doing this if she didn't agree with it. Right. So I would be with a woman who would be on my program, who would understand my purpose and would be in alignment with me. I wouldn't be giving a ring and marrying a woman who I felt we were so misaligned in this area. So now, does that mean that she started out that way? No. But I do think that guys make the mistake when they're aware of these things or coming across these things. They like to throw, it's like almost they trying to baptize these women and like throw them head first into all of this stuff. And it's like a lot of times it probably starts with content similar to mine, believe it or not, where you're understanding male and female psychology, understanding and noticing scientific discoveries relating to our differences in terms of our neurochemistry, in terms of our biological hardwiring, Noticeable differences even when we're very young as children. And you're starting to just see her reaction and response to. So, for instance, without talking about the gender dynamics, when you're dating and talking to these women, are you ever just throwing things out there to see if they're open to different perspectives, different ideas, different viewpoints? Or do they always have a very crazy, visceral reaction every time it doesn't align with exactly what they think, exactly how they vote, exactly what they've always known and believed when all the girls that they know think the same way? Do they have a hive mind? Are they a group thinker or an independent reflective thinker? If you start doing that earlier and you see that she's open to those things, more than likely she'll be open to other things, including this type of topic. So that's what I was seeing very early on, is that when I would just throw out random little things here or there, they weren't as controversial, but they were a difference of views and opinions. I would just see how she would respond to it. Would she go off until I shut up in submission or just act fake like I agreed with her just for the sake of peace? Or did she allow me to be able to articulate why and explain why I felt differently or thought differently than her, and then see how she responded to that? So I saw evidence, seeds of somebody who was a curious thinker and was open to things, and that she actually valued diversity of thought, including difference of thought from me. So it made sense when we got to this topic. She was already showing signs of somebody that would be open to things. And then when she started, one of her homegirls called into Kevin Samuels, believe it or not.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So
was it a famous one or no?
Nah. It was very normal. Her homegirl was cool. But the point I'm making is like her and her homegirls who in the last 3 years, and this is the other thing, man. Social media says one thing. When you surround yourself with the types of people that you want to be and want to become, I want to say in the last 4 or 5 years that I've known her, we've personally known probably close to 12 to 15 people that have gotten engaged personally in the last 4 or 5 years, easily. Almost all of these people from people she's gone to school with are friends of mine that I've gone to school with. 15, a lot. So
Black people.
Yeah, all black, all of them, all black.
That's uncommon.
It's uncommon to people who, what's the right way to say it? What's uncommon is your circle being surrounded by millionaires. But it's not uncommon to you because you put yourself in a space where that's now your norm. So what I see on social media now is 99% of the time not a reflection of my actual reality anymore. Doesn't mean that it doesn't exist, but it does show me that there's a whole nother world of what it doesn't go viral on social media, of what's typically happening for a lot of millions of people. And that's the thing where it's like, yeah, her school of people that went to Howard and the people I went to school with, a lot of them got married or still married. They figuring it out like the rest of us. And a lot of them aren't super who makes more or he got to make this or do that. Like they just normal people who's trying to find somebody that they can try to build and do life with. That's a lot of cats, man. And it just so happened when I came back on the dating market, I wasn't finding any of them at first. So I said, is it really this? But in reality, it's kind of a combo of like, are you in the right circles, in the right spaces in the city or urban area or town? And at the time I wasn't. And then I was.
Yeah, I think, bro, if you know any beautiful single black women that, you know what I'm saying, doesn't mind a man in the space, let me know. My thing usually is like, I don't tell people, like I gotta tell people I'm a YouTuber because they're trying to figure out what I do with my time. I've learned to tell people I'm a YouTuber, but I don't tell them what I do because I know it's a place of conflict. You know what I'm saying? I know and I have a lot of videos. I don't want a girl going through my catalog and try to pick apart things. And part of it's because one, I'm an entertainer, so I have to turn up. Right. So it's not like I'm the exact same person on camera as I am in person. There's a similarity. But the person you are on camera is like, you know what I'm saying, a slither of who you really are. And then you have to be entertaining. So people don't understand that, you know, it's like you can't just be oh, everything is good and everything is great. You know, you have to be controversial. You have to be contrarian. You know what I'm saying? You have to be hyperbolic.
Yeah.
Right? You can't say, oh, I don't like something. You gotta say, I fucking hate this shit. You know what I'm saying? You have to be like that, you know, and for, you know, to work and grow in this field, you know? So it's kind of like being an actor of sorts, right? Like I play a character called Shape, you know? Anyway.
Well, it's tough. It's got to be tough for you and people who have more stronger controversial takes and views on things. So for instance, it doesn't matter whether I've said anything smoothly or I've said some controversial stuff that went viral. I'm the same dude. The same way I act, the same way I dress. There's actually no difference. So it functionally makes it easier for me to be in a relationship and to date if I was single, because there's no change with my stances, my views, how I am on camera, outside of camera, the way I talk. This is how I talk in the house. This is how I talk to my coworker. Now with my family, I'm gonna loosen up a little bit more, right? I'm gonna throw a couple of N words out there, but other than that, you know, I'm functionally be pretty much the same dude, no matter what. And it makes life a lot easier. So for you, it's gonna be hard as hell when they start watching this stuff.
What's your advice for me? Because you know, I'm not you, right? You're the same person. And shout out to you. You're a married man. You know, you got it made. You know what I'm saying? I think you have a beautiful life. And I could see how, you know, I don't feel like when I look at married men, even though I'm a playboy, I don't look at y'all like y'all beneath me. If anything, I feel like you guys got it made. Like you're already in the position you want to be, and you know, you got more structure. Someone like me, I'm less stable. You know what I'm saying? It'd be nice to have somebody cooking and cleaning up behind me, and I'm putting on. So, in your opinion, is it smart for me to not share my social media with them and to try to get them to know the real me outside of, because I'm an entertainer. You say you're the same person, right? I'm not. I'm an entertainer. I have obviously I'm not saying I'm very different, but I gotta turn up when these cameras are on. It's showtime. You feel me? But
yeah,
you know,
I don't. I actually believe it only makes sense for you to be you, because when you present something that you're not, I'm in the camp of it's not going to be sustainable. So, especially from a long-term perspective, they actually have to love you for you. So if they notice as a whole side of who you are and what you do for a living, them feeling deceived or feeling like you hid that from them, and the version of who they thought they liked not matching this, they got to know what it is up front. So for me, because now you're not wasting time, money, resources, and energy with them, if she sticks around after you tell her, like first date, I'm saying first, like there's no reason to go on 3 dates with somebody who I know 8 dates just for her to finally know. I actually would do the opposite. I would come up and tell her straight up, hey, I am a controversial, everything that everybody tell you not to do or to hide this, or no, you do the opposite. Why? Because the women that appreciate the honesty will start to understand your strategy and your business strategy, your approach. And then she's like, well, I see what he does, but then I'm also comparing and contrasting how he treats and thinks about me. And he doesn't see me as the women that he's talking about and how they carry themselves. So now they're better able to understand that. But if you don't do that and you try to withhold that from them, and then they find out, this is the equivalent of when she hides her past. And then when we finally find out, after we started investing in her and we felt like we were lied to, and we felt like we were deprived of the ability to be able to say this ain't for me from the very beginning. So it would be far better. And then you would prefer the woman that accepts you for who you are up front. And there will be women that will. But the sooner then the sooner you do it, the better you can establish what it is this dynamic is going to look like. So that's me. I personally wouldn't wait. So when they ask me at the beginning, hey, are you dating other women? Yep, I'm going on one after this. I'm not even working. I'm not even
working. You're new to fame. I've been famous a little longer than you. You're new to fame. It's a weird thing, bro. It's a weird thing. And you said people expect this for you, so maybe you don't have envy and jealousy and stuff like that. But I get all that. You know, you get people that just forget about your content. They dislike you because you got motion. You know what I'm saying? I'm the kind of person where like I don't try to put, like I've been in front of people, I've been with people I know, and someone come up to me come out to us in public and recognize me from YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
Think about how it makes that person feel. They felt weird. They felt weird as hell. Like, like, oh, this nigga think he's somebody. You feel me?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm one of those people where I'm really down to earth.
Yeah.
But if I show you my social media, it looks like I'm trying to flex on you. So there's a lot of reasons. I'm not hiding it because I'm scared or not, what it is scared to be scared of. It's just more or less in the sense of like, I look at it like hitting the brakes, like what you were describing earlier. You know what I'm saying? Where it's like I said, I have 800 videos. If you watch them longer than you take time to get to know me, you know what I'm saying? You might be now I got to defend my content when I'm talking to you rather than getting a chance to just talk to you. Like I want to date as a normal person. I don't want to date as a famous person. I don't mind dating famous girls, but I want to be like you. You met your wife on some normal shit. That's the way to do it. You know what I'm saying? Like this industry.
Yeah, I mean, but you popped first. You started popping. You're able to survive off of this. So that's just the reality of the beast. And like I said, I think that there's pros and cons no matter what you do. Yeah. For me personally, if I was in your shoes, man, I would get it out the way. Because if it's going to, but you know what it is? Because if it's going to be an issue, I'd rather know sooner rather than later. That's all.
Yeah, you're trying to get disqualified as soon as possible.
Yeah.
Disqualify me. Yeah.
Yeah, because it doesn't waste your time, it doesn't waste hers, and you don't waste your money. And then you know sooner who you're dealing with if she chooses to stay.
I feel like, in some ways, I feel like it might actually help me if I tell them.
Yep.
They might make them like me more, but which is what I don't want. It's like leading with your wallet.
It is, but you got to realize it isn't just you're leading with your wallet. You're leading with this content. So they're going to watch it. They're going to hear it.
They're going to binge it, bro.
Yeah, right? So when they do that, there ain't no faking in the world going to make a woman who hate Kevin Samuels love you. If she hate, these women were cheering over that man's death. So if anything in that realm, they can't hide that. They couldn't conceal it if they wanted to. So you're exposing what their real intentions are a lot sooner. Just a strategy.
No, bro. Listen, I'm always welcome to new information. I want to make sure I made my premise clear, and I think you got my premise, and I definitely got your premise. Yeah. So your wife's completely cool with your content. What you're saying? She's completely cool with it. She's completely cool with the manosphere. You guys have no sticky issues there.
I mean, she's not a robot. She still got her own mind and mind and thoughts. And it's not like we're 100%. My wife agree with me with everything. Like, of course, there's things that we're going to have nuanced views and differences on. I think we've learned about what's important to me is you being able to substantiate your argument and not making an emotional one. Even if we don't line up on the same things in every single area, I like knowing that the reason why we disagree is not because you just feel different, but it's because you thought seriously and critically about why you want to disagree with me and vice versa. And you've given me the opportunity to explain why. And if our conclusions end up in different places, but the logic that we use to get there is sound, then we respect it. Both sides. And that's a thing for us. So no, and then number two, she feels the way I feel, where I don't have emotions attached to the manosphere. She's learning and gotten better at being able to do that as well. So I can watch really crazy derogatory content and just take it for what it is. I don't have to have an emotional attachment to it. She's learned over the years to start to be able to do that as well. So now when she would watch Kevin Samuels or watch clips, she's just looking at what was said and how people reacted. She's not looking through the lens of he could have said this. She's way past the whole, the tone, the this, the that. Like she's in the space where it's like she's gotten to the point of where I've gotten to, which is like what matters the most, how something sounds or what was actually said. So she's in that space. Does that mean that's her go-to outside of my stuff? Does she really watch this stuff? Not really. But she knows about it. She has seen it. And sometimes when it pops up, like she showed me a clip of Cooley's No Fugazi clip with a chick, light skin, Big John, where she judged the guy and said he's too short. She wouldn't date him. And he said, well, she too big. He wouldn't date her. And she started crying.
Yeah.
And she said to me, like, she don't see that as the same thing. She sees the disconnect for a lot of women that get into these spaces or talk in these spaces where they don't realize the standards that they hold for themselves. Our most recent conversation was actually about alimony being paid to men. And she was like, oh, can you believe this guy, whatever famous woman celebrity that had to pay it, which is like 1% of the damn time. And she's like going off about it. And I'm like, this has like always been happening in the history of men forever. And like, why do y'all only ever react and care when it's with men? And I think she kind of had to realize it, which was like, I don't want to say I don't care about this, but like, y'all don't care about men's issues when it comes to being at expense to men and something like this. And she realized she fell in that bucket. She never really factored in that like men sometimes get destroyed in the family court system.
Sometimes.
Yeah. And she's realizing now that a lot of the things that I'm just bringing up, the reaction and response on social media is confirmation that a lot of people are also thinking and seeing things very similarly to me. So maybe Jeff isn't as bizarre and out there as maybe people thought he was. Maybe there's a whole market and environment and culture of people who's like, things are not fair and things are often at the expense of men. So she's adapted, she's grown, she's changed, and that's why we are where we are.
But you did it slowly.
Yep.
That's what I'm saying. There's no slowly with me sharing my social media.
That's what I'm saying. It's because you're out there. You're already out there. Your stuff is out there. So at that point, if I was doing this already, and whether it was the way I'm doing it or more controversial, I would do the exact same approach with you. I would do it. Like I would tell them up front because it wouldn't make sense for me. You
might not have your wife now, though, if you told them up front. In my personal opinion, I don't know.
No, even if it wasn't her, I would have one.
Okay. I mean, this next question is tough, though, because you said something recently. You said that, if a man has many options and he marries a woman, he's technically settling for her. Mm-hmm. You agree with that statement? You made that statement on another platform.
Yeah.
And look, I'm trying to ruffle it. And you can not answer whatever you don't want to answer, but I feel like I got a prod here because your wife has to know that you're going to become. I mean, she can't see this, right? And you talked about women seeing your potential and not looking at just where you are now. I'm good at looking at to see where people are and kind of seeing their trajectory. It's obvious right now. You're one of the biggest things in the manosphere. I don't gotta like toot your own horn. I'm just telling the truth. You know what I'm saying? The manosphere, we haven't had someone new in a long time. You're that new guy, right? And that's why everybody's jumping on you as fast as they can, and it's going to keep happening. And the audience loves you, and you actually have great content. I'm glad that you your book club, the way you're doing it is great. So you're going to have a lot of options, and you are a married man. And here's the bad news for married men. It makes women want you more. You know what I'm saying? So, are you going to feel like you're settling for your wife in that scenario? And how's she going to feel about that? That's a lot of pressure.
Yeah. So number one, the idea of other women being interested in me was something I experienced long before I got married or long before I got back into this podcasting thing that y'all saw me and knew me.
Right.
So this is an aspect of things we already experienced. And like you said, if she's pretty attractive and I'm pretty attractive, we both have to deal with the reality that there's people that think that we're attractive. Okay. Like that doesn't, all right. Like the reality is it's still a decision on my part or hers if we're going to step out. It's still a decision if we're going to act on that temptation. But we both, besides the heart and the character and how we treat each other, we saw both each other as attractive and thought other people think that they're attractive as well. So that already existed for us. So this wasn't.
It's a little different with fame. See, fame, and it goes back to the comment you were saying. It's like, I'm not trying to say that you're trying to suggest you are settling for your wife, but the concept that you suggested is going to.
No, so
compound. What I'm saying? When you're in front of your eyes is going to compound. Okay. And the point I'm trying to say is, are you a man who prefers to be with one? Are you in this place now because you agree with monogamy in a sense where I'm a one woman kind of man? Or what's your view on that? Because you also talk about a future where people are going to share men. So a lot of these things, how does this relate to you?
Yeah. Yeah. So for starters, again, when I say nothing, I'm telling y'all right now, not things we've already discussed and talked about, and like that's none of this stuff is shocking. Like that's that for us and for people that know me. Like this is not new territory. So yes, I do think that there's a very small subset of women who have a large body of men that would love to marry her on day one. A very small percentage of women are like that. I think the same applies for certain men. I think that we're not the most attractive men and women in the room or ever, but we think that we're pretty well off in the attraction department. So in our past experiences prior to each other already reflected that. So we see value in each other. So yeah, if I could choose to be with a whole bunch of women and I choose to be with one, that is a form of settling. But the quality of woman that I settle down with doesn't compare to the large volume of women that want me that are nothing like her. So that's probably the nuanced piece that I didn't include, which is it doesn't feel like settling if you're getting more than the other 20 women are able to offer.
No, I agree with that. And then one of the things I've learned, the reason why I don't have a rotation of 12 girls, because after you've been with several beautiful women, you realize you just get the same thing over and over again.
Yep.
It loses this mystique. The novelty disappears. A lot of men don't know this. And this is why I loved when Jim Carrey said, I hope everyone becomes rich and famous so they could see it's not what it's all cracked up to be.
Yeah.
And it's damn true, man. Like, you know, like fame is not what it's cracked up to be. It's actually a liability. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm always worried about my safety all the time, which the average person doesn't even care about. Like I'm always concerned about my safety. And I'm not saying I'm crying about it. You know what I'm saying? I accept it and I'm glad to be popular and all that stuff like that. But it's something to consider all the time. And but when it comes to women, I don't feel like if I dated and married one girl, I wouldn't personally feel like I'm settling because in my mind, from just all my experiences, I would think to myself like, what am I really missing? I've been there, done that.
Yeah,
I've been there, done that. Like, you know what I'm saying? I've seen that before in every shade you can think of, in every size. And it wasn't all that when I had it. You know what I'm saying? It was
me saying it was more so to open up women's perspectives about the reality that it's possible for men to settle down too. And it's also that men have options too. And a lot of them struggle with thinking that it's only them that are the prize or it's them that are the quality person that everybody wants. Like there's actually guys that have, it's not a lot of guys, but there are some men who experience that as well. And then number two, like you said, I went through and experienced all of that in my 20s. So when you're not making all that money, as much money, and you're not known by, you know, fame and social media or famous or anything, and you're dealing with women that celebrity are dealing with, you're dealing with women who are in music videos, then like your perception of quote unquote everybody knows you now, when you were running school in college, like your perception is going to be a little bit different about these things. Now, if you didn't experience those things and then something like this happens and you're not used to it, all it is just on a greater scale of something you already went through. That's really the only difference. And you know, that's it for me, where it's like, oh, a woman wants to have my child. Okay. I don't know how many times I've been told that. A woman wants to come in the picture. A woman wants to make it seem like there's more going on than there actually is. Like I've been through all of that stuff already. So people who want to circle back because you now at a new spot in life, these are all things I kind of been through. I just didn't have as much money or it wasn't as known outside of the people that knew me. So all of this, like you said, once you've been through it, once you've dealt with it, like it's just it's the same thing with different faces. And once you learn the lesson, and once you realize that, and you really believe it, and you start accepting that, what you start doing, you stop falling for the okie dokes. The same thing you would have fell for, you don't fall for as much as you would have used to. And now it doesn't even excite you or get you off your game in the same way that it would have years prior. So at this point, and I'm gonna be honest with you, bro. Like first of all, she runs some of my social media pages. Yeah. So it's like, it's not even like you know what I'm saying? Like it's not, Yeah, like I don't even have access to one or two of the pages. Like I don't even at all. I don't even log into them. She runs it. She posts the clips. I have other people who are clipping up stuff and putting stuff on YouTube. So it's like I'm working a 9 to 5. I got a 1-year-old. I'm running my podcast and doing content, reading, doing research, and trying to run my private practice. So it's like I when I got to the place of understanding more and more about purpose and how that has to be central over women, even my wife, and they know that, then like if my wife isn't central, then what makes you think you would be? You get what I'm saying? So it's like that was a lesson. I'm still learning it, still growing, but it's like once you get in that zone where you're like, okay, now I know what my real value is. Now I know, like you start looking at. I'm gonna be honest with you, man. I view any woman who's not wasn't friends with me before this, or friends with my wife now. I just view y'all all as liabilities. I really do. I'm not saying I dislike women. I want the best for them. I want things to heal between men and women, but I don't functionally see a role or purpose or value in them from a personal level at all. I don't see meaningful relationships. I don't see friendships. I have my female friends. I'm still friends. If you look at my wedding photos, I had 2 women that were in my wedding on my side, who I've known since I was 13 years old. I got plenty of friends. And these are people who have known me when I was broke, when I was depressed, when I was in relationships, when I was single, in all my facets. Like, so they're proven, they're stamped. Y'all, the rest of y'all are new to me, and I never will know what your motives would be for why you want to be here. So I view them as other category, honestly.
Yeah, look at like people like Shannon Sharpe and a couple other people who they look inexperienced with women prior to success, and they never knew what genuine desire looked like. And I think to myself, like, that's one of the worst. I'm so glad I'm making it later in life. And I'm probably feel like you probably feel the same way too.
Yep.
So I have to learn that lesson in front of everybody. Right.
Yeah. Like, 21, 25. This happening to me. Oh my gosh. Like I'd have been, yo. I'd have been messed up already. Yeah. I would not have made it past a month.
Yeah. Because you won't be able to do your work. And then women become such a liability to the point where you could, like, Shannon Sharpe has lost hundreds of millions of dollars to get freaky with a white girl. Even Diddy, right? Diddy's an example too, because Diddy was famous longer than he wasn't. Yeah. So even he didn't have much time to, like, I feel like it's kind of like arrested development. Like whenever you become famous, like you almost like stop aging at that point. Like your growth could stagnate severely. You know what I'm saying? And some people, they're so used to the yes man, and they never had to deal with rejection. They never had to decide, like, to interpret why people really wanted them around. They're always invited to every party. They were never the person that were like trying to make it, trying to build into something. And so you knew the people that are around you were genuine. Like you said, you know girls that were with you when you were broke, like your friends or whatever. Yeah. A lot of men that never had that for a long period of time, they don't even know that. They have no idea what genuine desire is. Like, to me, Shannon Sharpe should have seen that play from a mile away. I would have.
Yeah, he should have just got with Tracee Ellis Ross and called it a day.
I don't know. I feel for Tracee Ellis Ross. I know she's like mentoring the Obama kids, and it's just like, that sounds like a disaster waiting to happen.
They ain't gonna listen to her, man.
You think so?
Nah, I think the younger generation of women are going to go on 2 tracks. They're going to do the crazy stuff that you're saying, or they're going to do the exact opposite. When they're seeing, because you can't assume they all stupid, that they all don't see how some of these women are miserable, just hate men, super angry, no children, nothing to show for it. Family line is ending with them. Like, some of these girls going to wake up and learn from their mistakes. So I'm not assuming that every single woman is just going off what they see on social media. I think some of them going to look and reevaluate and be like, you know what? My mom, my aunt, her homegirls, all of them is miserable. They all getting together every Valentine's Day. Maybe I want to actually be with my man. Like, that's going to happen. there's gonna be women that's gonna do the opposite.
Right. All right, man. I think this is pretty good. You know, I don't want to hold you up. I know you got a family. We can read some of these things and see if you want to answer any of them.
Sure.
Really quick. And thank you everybody for watching this podcast of me and Jeff St. James. Damn, it's a lot of the same people commenting. Women using manipulation.
Oh, you ain't starting no channel memberships?
I didn't, bro. I haven't.
Bro, I just started mine, man, and I did it on my first live. You got to do these memberships, bro.
What's your thoughts on that?
I'm gonna tell you my first time trying it. People started becoming members during the live because you get the special emojis, they get the special perks, they get to interact with you. You can create it wherever you want, and it's a community within the community. You definitely, and you got the following, and you've built up the platform over years, so your people will join. Yeah,
that's what people are telling me.
I made mine's cheap. My starting point is $2.99.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Well, you right now you're just you're looking to just like do everything you could do. I've learned not to do it. Like I don't even do shorts, bro. And we'll get into why I don't do that. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot to that, but you're in a different realm. You're kind of you're almost like a famous person starting social media. It's different for you. No, for real. You might not even see it that way, but the way I see it, it's like you're not even someone building from the ground up. You're coming in with clout. Way different than building it up, you know. So there's some reasons against that. Women want to use the manipulation men, and they can get the so-called guy they want. They're mad. They choose thugs at first though, and they see they need a God-fearing man. Yeah, Hezo, you got a lot to say, man. You might want to start a channel, brother. You got a lot to say. Black woman mother. Thanks for the interview. Yeah, appreciate it. Yeah, you know what? We could just wrap it up here. You got any last words? Because ultimately, I feel like we covered a lot. We covered some of the topics that I wanted to talk about. And this is why I didn't want to script this whole thing out, because I've realized that I wrote three. I don't want to say guidelines. What is it called? What do you call it? Three outlines. There you go. I wrote 3 outlines for it, and I didn't use any of them.
Now that just means we got more content. That just means we got more content for next time. That's all.
Yeah, it was just too long. The last thing I wanted to say to you though is where do you think your career is going to go? Because now that you got a little taste of and you kind of see your momentum, you probably didn't think you're going to hit 20,000 as fast as you did, and you're at like 21, almost pushing 22. What's your prediction for the end of the year for you?
Conservatively, probably 25, 30. 1,000 subscribers.
You're gonna hit 30,000 way before the end of that.
So just to clarify the reason. No, so the reason why I say that is because when it comes to things within my control, truly within my control, I can be very, very realistic. But when it's something that's semi out of my control, I tend to be very conservative. Because then it's less likely for me to be disappointed, and it's more likely for me to exceed my expectations. Because when it involves other people, I actually lower my expectations. When it involves just me, I know where to set it. If that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, is that like are you doing that to protect yourself in a way, or it like what you feel like if you got too, if you inflated, it would inflate your ego too much if you dreamed it big, I guess, in a way.
A combo of things. I think my history with people, groups, friendships over time, just growing apart from people, seeing people change up and switch up for different reasons, is that people are fickle. And that's the one thing that I've learned about humanity. People, fans, supporters, friends, is that people tend to be pretty fickle. And 1 minute they love you, next minute they hate you. And if you know that lesson and learn that lesson, it doesn't matter the size of the crowd. If you're going to do what you want to do it, and set your expectations with that in mind. So when I do that, I don't get super excited about most things. And it sucks because I feel like I could get way happier and more excited about things. And it's like, it was dope when it went viral for a little bit. And I got genuinely happy when it hit 20,000. But that's basically it. For me, if I know what I'm doing is moving in the right direction, the external validation isn't needed for me. For me, it's, am I doing what I'm supposed to do? Is it doing what it's supposed to do? And is it having the impact it's supposed to have? If those three things happen, the growth will happen. And whether it happens this fast, a little slower, a little faster, you know, it is what it is. So that's kind of how I view it. It is what it is. Like for me, I would love to be rich and not famous if I had to choose.
Too late.
Nah,
you can't make yourself it's too late. You can't unfamous yourself, which is, people follow you from Instagram or block you, whatever.
You know, your boy could disappear, man. Listen, don't let me get rich enough, because when I say everything is wiped and I am gone for real. So for me, I'm in a space where it's like I'm telling people some of the things that I care about and what I'm passionate about. And then once I hit a certain episode amount, I'm done. And nobody else knows what that number is but me. But once I'm done, regardless of where I'm at, no matter how much I'm making, when I feel like I've done what I was supposed to do, and I've done enough to be able to put myself and my family in a better position financially, short and long term, I'm out. And that's it. And I'll let the channel run and I'm gone. And that's it. So for me, I do know if I was younger, I would feel very differently about that. If I was more mature, yeah. But I've experienced it, bro. Years ago, I wanted to die. I didn't think I wanted to live in the last relationship I was in, based on what I was experiencing, what I was going through. So when you come back from that, that's probably what explains why I don't always match what people think I should be doing, feeling, reacting. It's because it's like when you really understand like purpose, value, reasons for why you didn't want to be here, and now you have reasons for why you do. All the other ancillary things that surround you, it doesn't mean quite what it means to everybody else. So I just have a different look and outlook on life, so to speak. Honestly. So that's genuinely me. I'm not putting on an act. I'm not a lot of things. Like, just to be fair, before I got into this podcasting thing the second time, I got promoted 5 times in 5 years. I was doing quite well. And I had the same mindset with this that I had with that, where it's like, you just got to put the work in and do what you're supposed to do to be in alignment when it's time for it to come. And that's it. So, you know, that's just where I'm at, man. I'm at a spot in space where I feel like, you know, I'm grateful for the opportunity. I'm not, you know, some of the people's like, oh, I don't care. It's dope. It's nice that people genuinely see what comes out your mouth and your ideas is valuable. But if y'all can give up on me tomorrow, I'm gonna go to work.
Yeah, some of us don't have jobs outside of YouTube. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. You do, and congrats to you, man. And I think you're gonna do really well. I have big hopes for you. I hope you don't have a time where you're gonna, like you said, there's gonna be like a final episode. I think the Black community, the work will never be done in our lifetime. I think we have so purpose. If you're talking about purpose, there's so much we can contribute to the community. I don't even see exhaustion. I don't see a place where we're like, all right, we did enough. We everything's fixed. You know, there's so much work to do. So
I'm gonna say this: if one of my purposes is to do what I'm supposed to do, there will be when Kevin Samuels said before he passed was that there's going to be more people that come after him, and he was telling the ladies this, like, if you hating me, wait till you hear about the guys that's going to come after me. If I do what I'm supposed to do, there's going to be people that are going to be just as effective, if not more so than me. That's going to come. And they're going to get smarter. They're going to learn from your mistakes and my mistakes and Kevin's and others. There's going to be more of them. And it'll move from me being rare and Kevin being rare to the norm. So for me, if you did what you were supposed to do, the mission, the goal, the thing shouldn't die just with you, unless you were only doing this for you. So if you were doing this because you want this to be a thing that grows, as you see with my content so far, I'm trying to build actual communities. I'm going to my next episodes, I'm going to be telling people to start posting which city and state they in, and then make sure that they communicate with each other once they see it in the comments. So then y'all start sharing books. Y'all start sharing resources. Y'all start connecting. Y'all start checking in on each other. Y'all start figuring out how to do life and build communities amongst yourselves and replicating what you're experiencing on podcasts and doing it in your hometowns and cities, especially with the men amongst each other and forming actual brotherhoods. If that's happening, then I don't need to do this forever.
Yeah, no, it seems like you want to put your work in and lay your hat, you know what I'm saying? And, and do what you got to do. And you know what? As a family man, I understand that because, like you said, who wants to just be working? You know what I'm saying? So I'm with you on that. But with that saying, I have a lot more to talk about. So hopefully you'll come back.
Sure.
I definitely want to talk about the issues between FBAs and tethers. They call me a tether because I'm from the Caribbean. I don't know what any of that stuff is about. I don't know. Are you Caribbean? Where are you from?
I'm from here. I'm from Philly.
Okay, so you're FBA, I guess. Is that
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so I wanted to get into that today, but we'll get into that another day.
Okay.
Either way, though, thank you everybody for showing up. We really appreciate this. Follow my brother, Ask a Brother Podcast. It is the handle, and you can search him. You can just search Jeff St. James. He will come up. It will come up. Okay, and all the other great stuff that he's doing, and hopefully he'll come back on, and we can continue the conversation. But my brother, you be safe. Thank you for joining. And your wife got a really, really special man. And I'm just proud for you and your family. And we need more Black families. We need more Black families to just show that, we're capable of productive work, for being outstanding individuals in the community. And I think, like, you're right, people need to see more of that. We need to see a bunch of Black women getting married. So shout out to your wife and all her friends and all of the friends you guys got. Other than that, thank you guys. You have a wonderful night. Everybody enjoy your weekend. Brother, we're going to talk soon, man.
For sure. All right, man.
Everybody be safe.
Peace.